my story is I was gonna go play a show, and I was miserable in the band I was in, and Garza came up to me and said, "Yo, you want to try out for Suicide Silence? Cool. Show up next week." What if I was sick that day? What if they found somebody? You know, it's funny, when I tried out, there was another guy outside waiting after me. They told that guy to go home. They did.
With his drum kit and all, I assume.
I don't know who he was. They're like, "Hey, blah, blah, blah's outside. He wants to try out after Alex." And they were trying out drummers like 3 a day. And I think they went out and they're like, "Hey, just come back tomorrow." And he's like, "Okay." I don't know who that guy was, but they never called him back.
Real quick before getting into today's episode, just wanted to shout out a few quick things. First of all, we have a Patreon. For as low as $1.50 a month, you can get early access to these episodes as well as your name in the credits. And with the $5 tier, you can gain access to member-only channels in our Discord server. Secondly, we have merch. 2 designs that we absolutely love. You can find those over at indiemerchstore.com. And last but not least, we do these podcast recordings live on Twitch. So if you want to be a part of the conversation, see these as they happen. We do those every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. EST. Yeah, that's it. Links to everything I just mentioned will be in the description, along with links to our Discord server and our other socials. That's it. That's all I got to plug. Enjoy the episode. Alex Lopez, let me just center you real quick over here.
We had a part of Alex starting the show. It's like a quarter of Alex.
Yes, sir. How are you doing, man? Welcome to the show.
Good, man. Chilling. Here to hang out and answer some fucking questions or tell some stories. We can get into that kind of situation, but also honored to be on your guys' podcast and talk to the rest of the world and let them know like what it was like back in the day when I was just a wee 19-year-old kid wanting to be in a rock and roll band.
Yes, sir.
And you did. You definitely did. Listen, it's an honor for us to be quite honest. Like it's no secret. We live in the past. We constantly talk about the MySpace era. It's kind of our entire thing. We love. You said you have stories. I mean, I don't think once we complained or we tried skipping any stories for what it's worth. Like that's exactly why we're here. So sounds great, actually.
You I mean, we'll hop into we'll go back in time in just a sec here, but I'm curious. As of late, what's life been looking like for you recently? Because I know you're a man of many passions. You do art, you do front of house, you do some producing. The guy also plays guitar. You know, what's been going on with you recently?
Everything. I actually just in last year, which sounds like a long time ago, but it's like 2 months ago. I tracked drums on Austin Carlile's new record.
Oh, okay.
Whoa.
And people already know it's coming out, so I'm not like.
I mean, a song has been released. I saw at least that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I've been friends with Austin for a long time, and I saw him at it was Mayhem Fest of like 2-3 years ago, I think. It was here in Riverside, and Suicide Silence was playing, and then Ginger was playing as well. And different stages, and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna go run over to go see the guys, Suicide guys. And I'm walking up, and then like out of the corner of my eye I see Austin Carlile, and I'm like, oh shit, dude, what's up? And he looks at me like, yo, we gotta talk. We gotta talk. And
he was hunting for a drummer. He's like, let's go to this festival and see who I can find.
Right. We started talking to him, and I even told him, like, I think I know what you're telling me, but we'll talk later, you know. And then I think Suicide played, and I had to go run to the Ginger set because, you know, be a supportive dude. Which was a really long run for me to go from second stage to the main stage. But later that I lost contact with him, and then later that night he texted me, and he started sending me all his demos. And I was just driving home, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. And then he wasn't necessarily scouting me as a drummer or anything like that. He was just kind of wanting to show his friend the music he's been working on in general. So like that kind of situation, which is what we do as musicians. We kind of like, hey man, check out our shit. Tell me if it sucks or not, you know?
Yeah, did he give you the whole, the usual, but this is just a demo, you know, just so you know, it's going to sound better in the end, but you know, you got to kind of imagine it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He was just like, it's just, you know, and then I think one of the first conversations after that, he's, I think a month after that, he was like, hey, come down to the studio. There's a studio here in, it's like Diamond Bar, Pomona area. And it's with the guy who produced that album, this guy, Richie, awesome producer. And he was there with the rest of the guys that were kind of writing the album with Austin. And they were just showing it to me, you know, like this, like they're not really trying to court me, or are they trying to steer me away? They're just like, what's up? And then I kind of just said, I'm like, you know, if this had real drums on it, it would be fucking way better. And they're like, and then Austin's like, yeah, dude, that's what I'm fucking saying. You know, everybody wants to do the program shit. And of course, like the logistics was like, there's not enough time. There's not enough money. There's not enough this. And I'm just like, fuck that, dude. Like, I'll do that shit for free. Like if we can do it here, like, I just want to do something that's credible and something with, you know, with all that. So like, as a part of the art, I was just like, you know, like, fuck, we'll figure out the technical business aspect later.
Yeah.
Let's just fucking show up to school and do the assignment and finish it. And then we'll talk about that shit later. And yeah, I went into the studio. I was listening to all the songs. There's some brutal shit, dude. I'm telling you right now.
Okay.
No one's ready for it. And I was even like, yo, that song's cool, but can I slam the fuck out of it? Like, slam the fuck out of it. He's like, yeah, that's like what I want to do. I'm like, all right, well, we're tuned low enough. I know what to do as far as kick and snare pattern. Like, I know where those little motherfuckers.
Yes, you do.
I know where they need to be. There's not going to be a whole lot of them here and there, but I know exactly where they're to go. And ended up coming out really good. And then, you know, as far as my job, like I have a full-time job now, working for like a production company and doing front of house and just getting income for once in my life consistently and not having to be like, who needs a fucking drummer? You know, it's like the battle. But at that point, I think I was just kind of like, you know, like, let's just do this like this in the future. If it comes up where there's some type of tour or something, maybe call me. But I'm from that era. Like, I guess it was like the 2000s where drummers were always playing drums on other albums. Like, you know, you had Josh Freese playing on A Perfect Circle, but he's also playing on 9 Inch Nails records. And you had like ghost hitters, you know, like that were on albums that was like, oh shit, Shannon Larkin from Godsmack's on Glassjaw's record. Like, and I know this is not brutal music, but it is to me.
No. I get it. I mean, it's all the same. It's just kind of like having, I guess, like session drummers, but it's not so much, you know, because being a session drummer is like a career for some people. But in those cases, it's just like people that are already doing the thing and are already successful at it, but doing it on their homies band as well. And just, you know, you're like picking the best person for the job, and, you know.
Yeah, and that's kind of like one thing when I talked to him, I'm like, yo, dude, did you know that we are on a song together where I'm on drums and you're on vocals? And he's like, what? I'm like, the fucking Mitch Lucker Memorial. He's like, dude, I've been trying to listen to that. And I had to tell him, I'm like, it's on Spotify. Like, you can listen to it right now. And then once, like, I think we listened to it, and he was like, we got all like motivated and like inspired. And then we're like, dude, if we can like do this combo again, but make it on a fucking record, I think that would be sick. And then everyone in the band's kind of like, I think so too. And then we kind of looked around, and I said, all right, well, I'll come in like next week and bring in my whole kit. You know, luckily all my companies like Tama and Zildjian and Evans, they've always stood by me from all my projects, like after Suicide. So I was just kind of like, I hit all the homies up. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna need a bunch of shit. I'm tracking drums on this album, and it happened. Took me about 4 days, and I'm really proud of it. I actually haven't even heard the whole album at all. I've only heard some board mixes, but also that's because of so many albums I've been a part of. Like, I don't like to listen to like the mixed versions and this.
Yeah,
I want to hear
all the revisions and all that. Yeah, just give me the final. Yeah,
give me the final Spotify or the CD or whatever. Like, that's when I'm like, okay, because all I remember is my demos, the inside console, like the studio behind the board mix, and then now the next one I want to hear is like the actual fucking what everyone else hears. But there's some cool stuff on there. Austin is he got pushed to do different things that I've never heard, and I was always all about like, he does rapping and he does singing and he does screaming and he does his lows and highs, but also like the fact that there's not a lot of vocalists out there that are rapping, except for like Chino from the Deftones or Zach from Rage, or like I think Franz does some rapping. Mm-hmm. I think on a record, Rob Flynn from Machine Heads does some rapping. Corey Taylor, I would say he's a rapper, but also a metal singer. Mm-hmm. So like that kind of era of stuff, it's kind of like we're both, me and Austin are both old as fuck, so we're just like, I think it's we're pushing 40, so we're like, hey man, you know, like let's just do what we think is cool, and like we're not trying, like he's not trying to do things intentionally to be on the radio or intentionally to do this. He actually like had this album written like in the span of 2 years or something. Like he took his time on it, and it was also battling a really fucked up disease. He was in the hospital a lot. Like there's times where we were like, where the fuck's Austin? Like I haven't heard from him in a week. And then it's like, we find out from his wife, it's like, yeah, he had a infection on his leg and he had to go to the hospital to make sure that the infection doesn't spread to his heart. Because if it spreads to his heart, he can have like a heart attack. And it's like real shit, man. Like the older you get, as I was saying, it's like motherfuckers are dying now.
Yeah,
it's
we're decaying in plain sight.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one of the things that I did recently. And other than that, you know, like I think when me and Tatiana got married, we were kind of like, shit, how are we gonna like get a house and tour? Like if I'm getting in bands or doing stuff that's like requires me to tour, if I'm even just a front of house engineer or some type of touring gig. And it was like, that kind of be hard. We have a cat and we don't want that little dude to fucking little homie to starve. So I kind of, so I was just
ideally,
right.
Ideally,
yeah.
But the bar is low here.
But he we kind of like, it all kind of worked out. This company that I was doing freelance for needed a manager for this backline department, which is like rentals and amps, and it's just a bunch of shit that I'm like, oh, I can do this, cool. And then they're just like, you can also leave whenever you want and tour whenever you want, when the
perfect scenario, basically, like your ideal perfect scenario ever as a career. It's that basically.
They probably only employ people that tour. I assume is kind of the scenario there.
Yeah, they like it. I mean, and I think the fact that I'm like an instrumentalist, you know, like not only just a drummer or a guitar player or a bass player or a pianist, a fact that like I've always been that way since I was a little kid. Like I had an older brother who played music. So when I grew up, I already saw guitars and amps, and I was like the kid that's like taking the cable apart.
Yeah,
and,
the
like,
annoying little brother. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was also in the room when he was jamming with all his friends. So like when they would leave practice, I would go into the jam room and start playing everyone's shit. And like, and then eventually got into like, you know, recording and stuff like that. But it's pretty much been a big part of my life, just like being saturated with like any type of audio, you know, audio shit, audio world and musical world and stuff like that.
Well, with your knowledge, I mean, like that's like you were talking about like working with Austin. Basically, you offered like the biggest free like upgrade ever. Like, hey, so I'm just, instead of just this, I'm gonna upgrade it for free, and you're gonna have sick ass drums. I don't see a world where somebody would be like, nah.
Yeah, you know. Right. And I'm like, in fact, I have a $15,000 bell brass that we could use, and we can. It's the same snare used on this album, and this album, and you not only get the snare, but you get the motherfucker who played it. Like, so it was like a really cool situation. But also, it's like I'm kind of at that level where it's like, say it wasn't about putting music on Spotify or putting music out in the world. I would have, if Austin was like my next door neighbor and he was just like, yo, dude, you want to come over and like write some shit? I'd be like, yeah, dude, let me grab my coffee. I'll come right over. And I would have just done it for the sake of art, you know? Mm-hmm. And of course, the selfish reasons would be like, hey, I haven't put anything out myself lately. Yeah. And, you know, I would like to. That would be great. You know, I have a lot of songs I've been a part of. I'd like to add more to that. But everything was, you know, everything was cool with that. And it's kind of like,
yeah, it's just not about that anymore. Yeah, it's, you know.
No, nothing to prove, basically. Like, you guys, you know what I mean? Like, you both have that. It's like you're doing it to do it. But I had a question also, because I'm a super nostalgic person. So I'm just curious to know if, you know, revisiting those days, like seeing Austin, did you have those moments of just like, my God, like we were like seeing yourself like back in the days with like touring and you know, with Suicide and him with Off Mice and Men and so like revisiting that, like did that cross your mind, or you're just like you're in the moment type thing?
You know what, we toured with Mice and Men, but Austin wasn't in the band then. It was
I was wondering
Tour.
about that. Okay,
it was Warped Tour of 2010, and they had a dude named Jerry Roush who he's in Glass Cloud now, yeah, or something like that. Good homie. And then after that, I met the guys in around 2011, 2012. 2011, I kind of actually met Austin, and the first thing I was just like, man, this motherfucker looks, and you know what? Straight up, like he has
them confused. Yeah,
he has this, dude. Same body frame, same hands, like same like vibe. They're OCD about the same shit, and they're laughing about the same shit, and I'm just like, dude, like this guy reminds me of my friend like a lot. Like when I was recording, and just the shit he would say, it was just like, damn, it's really crazy. And like there's the same size, and they like kind of have the same mannerisms, so it was kind of really cool to kind of have like some kind of like a, you know, connection with another studio experience with someone of that nature. But even then, like I remember, like I always knew people kind of resembled Mitch, like Ollie and Austin, and maybe like, but that look was kind of already done. Like there was the singer of Converge, Jake Bannon, had like that look before Mitch. Like, in fact, that's a dude I think Mitch was like, I want to look like that motherfucker. Like if you look up old pictures of Jake Bannon from Converge, like skinny, scary looking, fucking tatted up white dude who's just like, you don't know if he's gonna like say what up or like rip your face off. So like that character has always been kind of like a certain thing. But when I saw Austin perform like for the first time with the band, I was just like, this is crazy. And then that's like around the time that Mitch passed away, and we were trying to figure out like, hey, who do we get to sing in our band, A, and B, like we want to like do a memorial show. It all happened so quick, so we were kind of just like, let's do a memorial show and let's get a bunch of sick ass vocalists to sing.
Tryouts at the same time. Yeah.
The tryouts. I mean,
sick ass tryout, but
right. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't, it was, but it wasn't. By that time, I think Eddie, we weren't even thinking about who was going to sing. I think we were just like, let's, there was always like, it's some shit that like some deep shit where, Mitch was a big believer of like the world ending on 12-12-12. It was like some of the guys in the band, well, there was a lot of days where Mitch was like, the end of the world's coming, guys. Like, fuck, I'm freaking out. You know, like it was like a thing that he would research on the internet. And it was kind of like, it wasn't an issue. It was just he was super into fucking what's it called when a lot of people believe in something, whether it's fake or not.
A conspiracy.
It's conspiracy.
Yeah. We all have some people like that in our lives. Yeah.
he was a super conspiracist or something like that. And I remember like we were just kind of talking about it. Like, yeah, I remember he was just kind of freaked out about 12-12-12. The same way our generation was freaked out about
Y2K.
Y2K. We were like, what's gonna happen? Are people gonna turn into robots? Are gonna
take over?
Everything's gonna break.
But that's happening now. It's just happening a little bit later, you know?
Yeah. So when we kind of did that, we were like, hey man, let's do a show on this day. And if the world ends, that'd be crazy. But if not, we'll just, carry on. So
because the memorial show was on that date, right? Am I crazy? Okay. That's kind of crazy.
And that was kind of what's crazy is like we already had his funeral, and we were just like, like that day was the day that like he thought the world was gonna end a bunch of times, but that was a big day where he thought the world was gonna end, and this is like deep shit. And in a way, it was kind of like the end of his world. That was his last day, like where he was technically performing. He was in the hearts and like the sights of people, and his songs were being played and honored by all his friends, all the people that sang. So it's kind of like some a bittersweet, silver lining in that situation. And then just the fact that everyone that we thought about, like we were like, dude, let's get fucking Randy Blythe to do YOLO, because that song, like when we were writing it, we're like, this could be like a song that Randy could do guest vocals on or something like that. Like all these songs that we kind of took inspiration from, like especially Fuck Everything being like a Chad Gray vibe, like with Mudvayne, we were like, hey, that song kind of already, when you're writing music, you kind of like, you have tentative titles, like working titles.
Yeah, sure.
And so it's like, oh yeah, Hate Breed riff and this fucking, whatever, Refused bridge. Like we had some stuff like that where it was kind of a mixture of other bands. So the fact that the singers that we kind of had in mind when we were writing some of the shit ended up being the singers who sang on the memorial. So that was like, it was a big situation. Plus that whole time it was like, we were also realizing like how many people were like us that didn't know what the fuck was going on, and like being backstage and seeing Phil like quiet, just sitting down, like, and like of course like where everyone's partying and shit, and like some people were like, I'm like, oh yeah, they're really, this is fucked up, like this
right,
whole reason
most people are probably just fucking bummed, right? Like you're here, you're there to put on a show, but like it's a sad fucking day, right? Like
yeah, it was a really sad day. And then but everyone's support, and at the same time like we were kind of like, hey, let's just keep it good. And that's what's funny is that we were everyone was like taking pictures like doing the devil horns, and I remember Randy Blythe was like, nah, fuck that, you got to go upside down for Mitch, bro. And I was like, so if you see pictures of that night, which are probably maybe circulating, and if you see people doing this, that's what that symbol was. Yeah, everyone started doing it later that night of doing the M versus the devil horns up. But and yeah, that was the night Austin forgot that we recorded a song together. That was OCD, yeah. That
performance of his, though, we bring it up often on the show. Like probably the most underrated or most surprising performance out of everyone that night. Like what a performance he put on. Like I don't know. I just didn't figure he had those kind of pipes to do those kind of vocals the way he did. He fucking
him and Danny. Yeah, him and Danny. Yeah, Danny was not like. I was just like, and then he was going through stuff with like, his vocal cords. On top of that, I didn't know if he could perform, and he just performed probably better than than ever. You know what I mean? Phil, obviously, but but to me, Austin, like we're talking about Austin, I always felt like as a performer, I know he was popular and stuff like that, but like he's an actual amazing performer. If you look at all the videos, like in terms of commanding the crowd and stuff, goes beyond the vocal. He was like made for that. But that night, it's like he turned into, he's usually doing more metalcore stuff, and it's great. I'm loving it. But he turned the switch or something, and it worked. Like he was deathcore Austin or something. And hopefully maybe that's what you meant with brutal. Don't want to put like what I'm trying to, I mean, like when you said some brutal songs in my mind, I'm like, that could be,
we know
cool.
he has it in him. It's at least that.
So
yeah, no, there's some shit that he unlocked, like new Austin unlocked with the new shit that I was like, and of course me being me, like I'm like, fuck that shit. Like, go hard. Like, look at the competition. Like, not it's not competition, but look at what's out there. Like, you're capable of so much shit. Don't worry about what you have to do. Do what you want. And yes, Austin is like one of the very few singers who performs and goes as hard as they can without thinking of the repercussions of what he might do to himself. Like blow his neck out. Yeah. So he just might go so hard that he just loses his voice, and it's like, oh well, you know, like true artistry, alchemy, you know, letting it take over and see what happens.
That's cool.
That's crazy. I mean, you've worked with people. I mean, you're one of them, but like you were earlier saying, you know, seeing Austin reminding you of Mitch and stuff like that. Like we keep having this conversation on the show that there's very few people in this world that in a weird way, they're in a room and it's like a different aura. There's something about these people just know what they're doing. You could throw them in like some project, anything, somehow they're going to make something out of it. It's going to be, it's going to be great. And to your point, I think Austin, if you look at his career, you know, early Attack blew up, then Of Mice and Men completely blew up. So I think it's fair to say he's one of these like visionary people.
Yeah,
definitely.
and it's like I've been lucky to share the room and stage with some of the best frontmen ever like in the genre. If it wasn't with Mitch, it was with Eddie. And Eddie, I mean, I sat with him in this desk, recording pre-production for a couple records when I was in the band. Like Eddie is like all in or nothing. And like I did some I was in a band with Sarah Taylor from she's in Youth Code, but we started a hardcore band 6-7 years ago called Heaven's Blade. There's a band camp for it, but Fred, who's the bass player of Deftones, was in that band, and Biggie D, who's in Manson now. It was kind of like just homies that were live in LA, and we kind of like started a hardcore band, and then like everyone got busy, and then Fred joined the Deftones, and then they were kind of like, he only joined the Deftones, no big fucking deal.
Just that, yeah. It's just a small band, yeah.
Yeah, so there was that. Sarah's an amazing vocalist, and then of course touring with like JJ from These Nuts.
These Nuts,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, JJ, like I filled in for a tour in 2021 or 22, and then immediately after that, I played a show with As They Lay Dying, and then immediately, like a day after that, I started playing with POD, and also like being and hanging out with Sonny, like being around like that artistry of that person, that vocalist who, like you said, like walks in the room and you just like, the vibe shifts into something greater than what my worries were before I walked into that room and what I'm worrying about when I walk out. Like, that's kind of like what I'm used to. It's like still to this day when I'm creating music, it's like, fuck what's going on in my life. I'm going to do this. Cause grant you, like, mind you, when I recorded drums for that record with Austin, I was going through a lot of deep personal shit. And like I said, there was some selfish reasons. I was like, I need a drum, but just drumming in my garage or drumming at a studio ain't going to do shit. I need to like put these feelings, these emotions and like into something that's going to be eternal. And it kind of like all fell into the same place. And it all came from the heart, you know, it all came out of love. There's no like nothing more than that, you know? And like I said, yeah, there's some songs on there that are going to turn some fucking heads that are like, damn, this doesn't sound like what I would think. But if you go into it without any like premeditated ideas, like it's cool. Like there's some stuff that's like, maybe I won't listen to this song. But that's the thing is like some songs are more applicable to someone else and some other stuff, which is kind of cool. Like
just
it's
a
called
diverse
dynamics. Yeah. But
you know, you're talking about drums being like an outlet and being, I'm also guessing, you know, when we were talking about that off stream before, but when you joined Suicide, it was just like their ascension. Like it was basically the new, like we're on top of the world, basically. Not to the extent of like what you guys accomplished, I would say, like around, you know, the golden god thing and all that stuff. Like for sure it was bigger. But at that time, I mean, we're talking touring on the EP, people are talking, at least within the scene, it's like it's the thing. So for you, it was probably like game changer in your life. Like I'm guessing your entire life just shifted to joining that. Like it wasn't just like, oh, I'm gonna be in the band. It's just like I'm gonna be in the band. Just
it was crazy. I was playing guitar in a band called The Funeral Pyre. How I met Garza, when I was in high school, I was playing drums in a band, and Garza was a bass player in another band. I lived in Whittier, and there was a venue over here called Skateland, and he lived in Corona, and there's a venue there called The Showcase. So bands from Riverside would come to Skateland and play, and then bands from Whittier and LA and Norwalk and Downey would go to The Showcase to play, and not big shows, small little local shows. And that's how I met Garza. And like, I met Garza like in 99 or 2000, 2001. So he always knew about me as a drummer. And we always hung out. We were just kids, like eating ice cream after our show and like talking about Slipknot and shit. Oh yeah, there it is.
This thing is that music. I couldn't find the music for the life of me, man. You got to tell me you got that somewhere, man.
You won't. I designed that on a fucking on Microsoft Paint or something.
Yes.
Yeah, Mylan Sheath. I thought of that name in my biology class.
As one does, yeah. But
if you look at it,
because you look up the name and that's all you get, right?
What's crazy is like I knew, like I was trying to use digital like Microsoft Paint, and I'm like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put the logo, and then I'm gonna scribble it and try to blend it into it, and it didn't work. So if you see that, like this is my my approach to making a death metal logo, but not, you know. And I was just like, I see
the vision.
Like you got to also, I was 16 years old when I did this. So like, and a 16-year-old who like only has ever seen MTV, who just got his like desktop America Online dial-up internet. And I was just like, wait a minute, we could burn our own CDs. And we recorded a demo at the Showcase. And we burned them because they were used to record your demo on a tape, and you have to transfer it. And yeah, that was the first band. And then after that, I was the drummer. And after that, this band broke up, and I joined a band called Blackheart Eulogy. And this was more on that metalcore vibe. Blackheart Eulogy, you could find that music online. And I was the guitar player of that band and wrote some of the music. And it was through that band I got into the Funeral Pyre, which was kind of like the older guys. But through those bands, we played California Metal Fest. I have the laminate somewhere. And that's when Suicide Silence was already playing shows around this time. And I knew, like, when I saw them playing, I was like, they're Garza's new band. I kept always saying, like, that's Garza's new band. Like, everyone talked about him. And it's like, oh, he's playing guitar now? Holy shit. Like, yeah, and he's playing a fucking 7. Because he was always Garza was always known for going absolutely fucking crazy. Like, he would do twists, and he was like Wes Borland, Monkey, the guy from Stained, all those guys in one guy. And I don't even know if he was playing things correctly, but back then it's like, whatever.
Doesn't matter.
You know?
No one knows the songs. It's whatever.
Yeah, he came up to me at that Metal Fest. It was like California Metal Fest 2006. It was like in May, and he's like, "Yo, Alex, like, do you still play drums?" And I'm like, at that time, not really.
Okay.
But he didn't know that. And then I was like, yeah, and I kind of have been. And then he's like, yo, we're kicking our drummer out of our band. You want to come try out? We're trying out drummers. And I was just like, and at that point, mind you, again, I was unhappy with this band I was in, the Funeral Pyre, because they were more on the black metal side of shit.
No more. I'm kidding.
Yeah. No, they were like Dissection, you know, like, I don't know if that's black metal, but it's a lot of like I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And the
it was
sound
accurate for what it's worth. So just sound you just made, to me, I could hear the production behind it. So
yeah. So like it was like, I was kind of happy, but at the same time, I was always a hardcore kid, like all the time, or like, I mean, I listen to a lot of shit, unfortunately, but
we all do, man. That's life. That's being human, man.
oh yeah.
But he told me that. I played the show, and I remember Mitch and Garza watching me play guitar. And then after the show, I think I told them like, we'll hang out soon. And I think it was one of their last. I remember watching Suicide Silence's show and being like, damn, this. And I have it on video. I took my recorder, and I used to record shows. So somewhere I have a video of their performance at that show. And then I remember looking at the drummer, Josh, and being like, you know, like, it's not that he's not the best drummer, because that's a show that Animosity played and Naveen Copperwise played. And that motherfucker is he is, what's it called when you're like underrated? That motherfucker, I feel he's sickest
still
drummer.
Underrated. That guy's still killing it so hard, man.
He's the best drummer in the scene, period. That motherfucker is not only the sickest writer, the sickest composer, but that, like, the first Animosity record, Shut It Down, and then like like that shit was done when he was a teenager. Like, I don't know any teenagers right now being that that crazy. But anyways, Suffocation played that show too. But I saw Suicide a couple days later. I was in school in college doing oil painting or something. I'm a painter as well. And yeah, I called my mom, and I'm like, Mom, I need like $700. Like, I need to buy a snare, pedals, some cymbals, and all the shit. I'm like, I'm about to go try out for a band that's probably going to be huge. And she's like, okay, mijo, if the Lord tells you this, then it's going to be all right. And I'm like, I think this God, this universe is telling me something, because I felt good about it. And then when I rolled in to try out, everyone was like, oh, you got some cool shit, man. It's all new and stuff. And I'm like, you know, I've invested over the years. But I was
could have also taken it as, this guy doesn't look like he plays much drums. This shit's not beaten up at all.
Yeah, right. That too, right? But they. I think immediately I set up, and Garza just came from work, and he used to work at a hospital, so he was still wearing his scrubs. I remember he was dressed up like a nurse, and he just throws on his fucking guitar, and we just start playing like every Korn song. We played Blind, we played Clown, we played Adidas. Like, we started jamming all the shit. And then I think
it was won over for sure, just in that moment.
Yeah.
Like, just for sure at that moment.
And the way that the rest of the guys were like, okay, like, this guy could play. And plus, the rest of the guys in the band, Mitch wasn't in the room yet, but the rest of the guys in the band kind of knew me already. We've played together. I was kind of in the circuit. And then they saw that I just had that connection on drums, and naturally, like, by that time, I started playing drums when I was in 4th, 5th grade. So I by that time, I was naturally a drummer and a musician. So I was able to pair well with the scenario and not be nervous and have fun. And then at some point, you know, Mitch came in like with a bag of Del Taco or something, and like, what's up, man? And I was just like, what's up, dude? And like, he's like, can you know any of our songs? Like, you're playing all this other shit. And like, yeah, I had studied, I think the first one was like I don't even know the name, Destruction of a Statue and Bludgeoned, and nailed it. I think that after that practice, you might want to, I feel that 2 or 3 songs in, everyone kind of looked at each other and they're like, should we just stop looking? Like, and then we went to go eat at Wendy's. There was a Wendy's by Garza's house. It's probably still there. And then like we ate, and I drove everyone in my mom's car because I'm fucking.
You've got a car and you can drive too. I mean that alone is worth something.
New drum parts, the car. Dude, it's like
they were like, and that's kind of the gist of it. Yeah, it was a pretty much a no brainer.
I just gotta ask. I just gotta make sure we're not omitting some of the details of this fine day, though, because I was potentially told that there might have been.
Oh no!
But maybe this is another day. But I was told that on this specific day there might have also been a little shakedown of the pants and being shoved onto the ground in the front yard. Action going on.
That happened.
Same day. Yeah. Okay.
Dude,
some crucial details you're leaving out here, Alex.
Dude, there used to be those fuckers used to pants me all the time, dude. All the time. And you know what? It was all of them. It wasn't just one of them. And it all started off with like Garza. Like Garza did a thing where he pantsed me and then pushed me and I couldn't walk. So I rolled. But one time before I played a show, we were on tour. I don't know if it was Mayhem tour or some shit. I come out first, like, hey, I'm cool. And I like throw a water bottle and like, I get on the ego riser, like to get everyone pumped up. Fucking Mark pantses me while I'm in the very front. And like, I'm pretty sure my wiener came out and everything. And I was like, fuck that, dude. Like, and you know what? I can't even be mad at it. I can't. That's like, he got me good. Like, yeah. I should have been, I should have been holding the front up, and like, it became a thing. And also there was a time where we were at a truck stop. We were in the van and trailer days, and I was in the front of the van cleaning the windshield. and like, I'm high up. And then of course it was probably Mark or Garza come behind me and just pants me, and like I fall again. But yeah, the story of being pants in his front yard and falling over, it's one of the first things that happened. And I think that's when they realized, like, all right, man, I think he might be the one.
Right. If you had been all pissy about it and gotten mad, maybe things would have gone in a different way. That was the final test to make sure you were good for the band.
Yeah. Gotta have a sense of humor.
Is he as crazy as we are? He is. We're good. I'm curious also because like we're talking, you mentioned like destruction of a statue, which I know, there's a live version on the EP and stuff like that. But the songs they were playing at the time were probably very close to like what was on the Cleansing at this point, right? Like at that moment, they're basically like the songs that we heard on the Cleansing. That's basically what you're about to jam with them, right? In that era.
Yeah, when I joined, they only had 5 songs. Okay. And when I joined, as soon as I joined, it was like, hey, we have to write more songs so that we could play a full set for our headlining tour that's coming up, which was, it was
no pressure.
It was it was a spreading disease tour. So we sat there, and what's crazy is that I was always into recording. So I was like, hey guys, I have a mixing board and a tape deck and microphone. So like I could record our demos and put them on tape and give them to Mitch so he can write. So we ended up writing those 5 songs or 6 songs or whatever the album is, and we had to write songs so we can play them live. And those songs ended up being the Cleansing, the first songs of the Cleansing, like all that, like Unanswered existed already, but it wasn't complete. There was a song called. There was a bunch of they had a bunch of songs, but like I think one of the first songs that we No Pity for a Coward already existed, but we kind of rewrote it because it was kind of written. I think it was written with Josh, and the style of they wrote it. I think their only thing was everything was really like. It didn't have so much flow. Like it was really like copy and pasted. Not that they did that, but it was either like riff A, riff B. And I think at some point we were like, let's kind of like chill it out. Let's give it a joint and let it smoke real quick and rewrite it so that it's like, it sounds more like a song that it's more like wavy versus the style. Like if you listen to older Suey It's different drummers, but I took a lot of inspiration from Josh and like how he configured his drumming, because I still wanted to cater to that style.
Yeah.
That's sporadic style, the timing of style, the da 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 da, and like the only thing I did was add like some different kind of backbeat in it, you know, some inspiration of like whatever my inspirations were, which is probably a lot of Deftones, some Hatebreed, Pantera, and I don't even know. All our music was so like, we all listen new metal for sure, but a lot of our music was, everyone was into a different thing. So when we all came together, it sounded like Suicide Silence, you know.
It's crazy though, because like, you know, obviously, you know, new metal was probably at least like one of the genres that you guys kind of all, you know, really fucked heavy with, right? But and that became more obvious over time with the band. But there's no way you can pick that out in the Cleansing, right? Like that's like a non-existent, you know, like feature on those songs, right? So it's still like, sure, maybe you're taking inspo and stuff, but it's like such a different kind of.
No Time to Bleed, but you're right on the Cleansing. Even me, I could have never pictured like new metal in it. So,
if you listen, so there's one riff that I wrote on the Cleansing, and it's I forgot what the fuck is it called?
Is it in This or the Fallen? Am I crazy? Hold on.
No, it's that's the only riff I wrote.
The song starts like that, but I'm terrible with song. I know what you're talking about.
I think it's Hands of a Killer, maybe. It could be.
Could be.
It's like the second song. Hold on.
Yeah. It's Hands of a Killer.
I think one time we were just chilling, and I was like, I played that riff, and then they're like, "That's a cool riff." I'm like, "Let's make a song with it." And then that song, actually, if you hear it, it's just like da 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 da. It's slow. It's a total new metal song, but I think that is like the only thing that has that vibe. But Mark brought a lot of death metal into it, and Garza's like impulsive playing of the way his style is combined with all of us created like whatever that album is, you know. And like I recorded it. I was 20 years old when I recorded it, or 21. I was just a child. And then that's where I remember I had the Joey Jordison signature snare when I came into the studio to record it. And I remember the producer, John Travis, was like, he's all like, "What the fuck is that, mate?" I'm like, "Oh, it's the fucking Joey Jordison snare." And he like looks at it, I actually have it still. It's up there. And he looked at it and he's just like, "No, mate, you need to use something more like something more, you know, like look at this." He brought in a snare vault. And then
snare vault. Sorry.
A vault, yeah, like a big, yeah.
A vault with a bunch of
bunch of snares, yeah. And I immediately looked at this Tama bell brass snare with bell brass hoops, and I'm like, "What the fuck is that?" He's like, "That's the one you're gonna use. Like, it's called the Terminator snare." He's all, "I got the snare from Dave Grohl's studio or something," and I'm like, "Oh, Dave Grohl, let's use it," you know. Me being a Nirvana fan and shit. And then I put it on the kit and cranked it down, and I started playing and the kit, and everyone in the back, I started doing a blast beat, and like everyone in the room was like, "That's it. That's the fucking snare." And it sucked because they still to this day have never been able to match that. I think I know what the secret ingredient is, and it's a microphone that we all stopped using, that we used on that snare for that tone on the album that John Travis used. He used 2 microphones on the top, and this is studio nerd shit. And I just remembered, I'm like, why haven't we been able to get that snare again? And we stopped using that mic. And this mic adds like a certain frequency that gives it that sound. But anyways, after that, I was like, "Oh, can I have the snare?" It's like, no, it's like It's a $10,000 snare, man. I'm like, oh shit. So yeah, when we recorded No Time to Bleed, the same thing. I didn't own one yet, so we had to rent one with Machine, and they're like, we can't find a bell brass snare, like it's impossible. And to buy one, it's like they're like 9 or 10 grand. They don't make these snares anymore. And I was like, yeah, they don't. Like, so what do we do? And then Machine bought it's a Lars Ulrich signature bell brass snare. It's a certain type of finish. It's called it's a red brass patina. Anyways, Will Putney still has it. And then when somebody recorded with Will Putney or Machine, they said that snare, the No Time to Bleed snare, is like on the wall, because it was like a certain tone, like that. No Time to Bleed has like has like a Saint Anger snare to it.
Yeah.
Which is
it's the garbage can, like the tin can, like.
And it just so happens to be the Lars Ulrich bell brass snare. So there's the answer. And then after that, like I started using those snares, but the experience of that was insane. Like to this day, like I remember we didn't play to a click.
That's crazy. Just while we're here, by the way, just insane. Like I made several videos about Suicide Silence. I think you're aware of that. I made like every excuse to talk about the cleansing era. I'm using it and I'm doing it. And every time in the comment section, everybody's just like, cannot believe it was recorded like that. And I think, because I saw some interviews later on, and obviously you guys, with No Time to Bleed, it was different. You could, like, I remember watching interviews with Mitch saying that he was actually happy that he could take his time this way and like go part by part as opposed to recording together. But on the other side, I think it's fair to say that this captured something that was never captured after that.
Yeah, dude. Like we just got off. I just joined the band. We just wrote all these songs. I had the ability to record them, so we knew how to play them together. And then we went on a tour. We played them to fill the set, right? And then we did a UK tour after our first headliner with Abigail Williams and Silosis a long time ago. And we were playing those songs again, headlining. And then we came back and we did a Sworn Enemy and Sepultura tour. And then we went to England. And then I believe 2007 happened, and then we were just fresh off of the road, and we were young, thriving 21-year-old kids that were like, whoa, we're in a real studio now. Like, this is crazy. Like, this dude recorded on a Red Hot Chili Peppers album, like all this cool stuff. We were super excited. So like when we got in the studio, like there was no other way. Like we didn't have friends that were recording in studios. Like we didn't know about click tracks and just pre-production and shit like that. Like our pre-production was us playing the songs while John Travis sat in the room with a pen and pad, like writing notes. And he would talk about like segments. He's like, oh, this part's cool, but you need a little part in between that's like sporadic. Okay, we'll add one. So like the process was and then like a lot of the songs, it was just like, all right, play it. We played it. All right, play it again. Cool, next song. And we weren't even like, oh, that's it. Like when we played it, we gave it our all. So we weren't in there just like shooting in the dark. We were there with a fucking sniper rifle, fully magged out, with a fucking scope aimed at the target, and we shot that fucking cannon right through the target into the next one. You know, like we had the fire and we were all surrounded. And plus we recorded in LA. So I was close to home. So I could just go home right after easily. They had to go to Riverside.
Big bonus.
Yeah. So like that whole process was something magical. And once I started hearing the mixes as they came back, that's when I knew. I was like, this shit is going to be insane. And then once I heard Mitch's vocals on top of everything, and I would go into I think Jolie was pregnant with Kennedy then. She would go to hang out while he did his vocal takes. And I remember just hanging out in the back, he had like a back area, and hearing him through the room. And at this point he started doing doubles. So he was doing lows and highs together. And I remember like, oh fuck, like that's when I realized that you can do that vocally. Like I think maybe on EP he did it a little bit, but it was very like thin. And then once I heard it, like a lot of the parts being doubled that way, I was just like, all right, this is fucking cool. Like, this is going to be like, this is something at least like I could be super proud of. And that feeling is something that doesn't, you don't grow away from it. That's kind of what I still have when it's like, fuck everything else. This is what's important. Like what we're creating right now, you know?
Just a quick second to talk about the sponsor of today's episode, Indie Merch Store. Despised Icon gold foil hoodies are back. The band and Indie Merch Store heard your requests, so this MySpace classic is available for pre-order right now for a limited time. Head over to indiemerchstore.com to secure yours. They're printed on Champion brand hoodies. If you missed out on the latest Cattle Decapitation headliner tour, now is the time to stock up on some sick gear. The band just put up a variety of tees, including their Death Atlas crystal tie-dye pullover, the instant classic Bring Back the Plague 2028 tee, and more. Check it all out over at indiemerchstore.com. As always, you can use code BRUTALITY at checkout to save 10% off of your entire order. Again, that is code BRUTALITY at checkout for 10% off. As always, a massive shout out to Indie Merch Store for supporting the show. And now, back to the episode.
Still to this day, by the way, like another discussion I bring it up all the time, but like it must be mind blowing for you to see the influence that it still has nowadays. You know, with the whole, there's a big revival in that scene, and the cleansing still, it's like not only like part of the conversation, like everybody it's the deathcore album basically, like everybody agree on that. It must be mind blowing for you to see that, like, not to say we're old, but still
20 years. 20 years, dude.
It's humbling, man. It's every time someone brings it up in a band that tells me about it, I'm really honored. Like I never had any expectations of it. In fact, I was always just kind of like, oh man, I wish I was a sicker drummer then, you know, like, but at the same time, I come from a background of less is more and keeping it simple, but keep it simple, but play it fucking good. And have soul in it. You know, a lot of those grooves and a lot of those beats were just like I said, like I was going through, like when we were recording that record and writing it, like we all didn't have jobs. Half of us didn't even have licenses. I don't think Mark had a driver's license. He was like 17 or 18. Mitch, I think he had his license suspended. I was one of the only ones that drove. No one had cars. We're broke.
The only guy that's right there in LA. Yeah, right. It's the only one who's got a car.
Yeah, everyone. We were all broke and living at our mom's house, and like we had nothing to lose and everything to gain, and that's kind of like I feel very humbled when someone tells me like, "Hey, that album, you know, changed my whole life," and it's like. It couldn't have been any other way. We all came together at some point, and we all like when we were writing it in Garza's garage. Me and Mark used to sleep there, not because we like really wanted to. We used to sleep there because he had to get a ride there. He didn't drive yet, and then me, I couldn't afford gas to go back home and come back the next day. So me and him, it's a funny story. Me and him. Garza had this little TV, right? Those little TVs with like a VCR connected to it. Mm-hmm. Some old shit. And, you know, we would write during the day, and at night, Garza always went to bed early. So like 7:30 p.m., motherfucker's out.
Oh, okay. He's always been boring, huh?
Yeah. He would go to sleep. And me and Mark used to go to this like a video rental place down the street. And we watched, we'd buy movies. VHS movies, because they still sold them there. It was an old video shop, and also this is 2006, so like it's shit was still around. And we watched this movie called Pi. It's a black and white film, and it's called Pi, but the name of the movie is like a symbol of pi.
Okay.
It's a sick movie if anyone's watching, and that movie fucked us up. Like we woke up really fucked up, and I think the next day we wrote a song that inspired us from that movie, and I'd have to talk to him about it of what song it was. We might have even called the song Pie, because we were
at
like,
least the working title. Yeah.
yeah, we were like, this movie is really fucked up. It's about a guy that hears he's going crazy because he's trying to solve pi 3.14, and it's like he like drills his head open to figure it out or some shit. And we're just like sleeping on Garza's floor with like our jacket. Like, we couldn't afford weed, or we weren't even drinking then. You know, we were like, damn, dude, I don't know what life is about right now, but whatever. Like, you know, at least we got a tour in a couple months, so we got to write this album. And then, you know, like that whole era was a really memorable record, era in general. Like, we were inspired a lot though through our peers, like, you know, Despised Icon. Like, when we did it, I remember listening to them, and I was like, I had friends that were into that shit, and they were like, dude, Despised Icon, Ion Dissonance, and like that whole, yeah, your guys' era, or your guys', you know, your fellow countrymen. And I just remember, like, there's this other band too that doesn't get a lot of credit, is Premonitions of War.
Yeah, sure.
Them, and of course my side, I was always into that Converge hardcore shit. So like, there's a lot of Hatebreed, a lot of Converge, a lot of American Nightmare. So like, we kind of kept our, like, there was like Dillinger Escape Plan was still a band that I listened to, but combined with the death metal that Despise was doing, we're like, well, I can't be Alex Grind, but I could be Alex Lopez, you know. I can't do I can't do that, so I'll just stick with the grooves and the blasts and stuff like that, and let the simple take over it, and let the focus be the vocals and stuff like that. But
sorry, not to cut you off, but you're talking about like your hardcore influences and stuff like that. I fully remember, you know, Rick Hash talking about the fact that Suicide Silence was very strict about like no two-step, like no hardcore and stuff like that. Do you remember if you sometimes tried to sneak certain like hardcore or like little things like that? Do you remember if?
Hell yeah, man. I was always trying to get us to do like a punk beat, like a song like Smoke is one. And it's funny because I think Garza never liked those songs. Like all those like
he let them slide with those other ones he hates.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? Those songs don't do anything for us. And I'm kind of like, you're right. It's probably not the best thing for us to do. But I never tried to sneak in any hardcore like two steps. I do like this, like the hardcore aspect that like Sepultura has, like the thrash beats. So if you listen to like Smoke's a good one as an example. We didn't really do anything on the Cleansing that was like that. What else?
The kind of like fast beats, like kind of like a punk beat, like yeah.
The fast punk beats that we do, which I was kind of like, Pantera did something like that with the Strength Beyond Strength, where it's like I don't know, like Sepultura does it a lot. And I was like, oh, let's kind of do our version of it, which is like, in my eyes, I'm like, fuck yeah, we're a hardcore band. And that's kind of like the whole conversation of what deathcore is. Like, everyone says it was death metal and metalcore, but to me, it was death metal and hardcore, but not hardcore like youth hardcore, like two-step hardcore, more on the sense of like the Converge hardcore. Like that style of hardcore that was a little bit moving over towards the grind style, but still stage dives and high fives hardcore, you know?
Well, yeah, because I was gonna bring up too, like those bands were also all notorious for having crazy live shows, right? Which was not the case for the counterpart in death metal, right? And I think like a band like Suicide Silence was always, you know, about that too, like just going fucking crazy on stage. So like bands like Converge and Dillinger don't surprise me in that regard, right? As being influences.
that was a big part of it. I think when I joined the band, I had dreadlocks, and I remember if you look at old pictures, I have dreadlocks, like Sonny from POD dreadlocks, and I had to fucking comb them out because the first thing they said, and I think it was Mitch, he was just like, so you're going to go crazy, right? Like, you got to rock out. You're not going to be one of those fucking drummers that just stands there and looks awkward. I'm like, no, I'm going to fucking go balls out. Like, then that's like kind of like the whole Dave Grohl, Lars, old school Lars. because I'm fucking old. So like growing up watching those videos, I'm like, the drummer was headbanging. He's hitting as hard as he could possibly hit. A big inspiration too with is Morgan Rose from Seven Dust. Like just those grooves, those beat downs where I was just like, how do we get that shit into our shit, you know? And then, you know, we're always crossing that, but being able to rock out hard and play good was always like a given. It was always like
the lowest the bar could go was that.
Yeah. So like old videos, it was just like everyone's losing their shit, and you know, it doesn't really matter how good we play.
But wait, so you cut the dreadlocks? You had to comb it out because the dreadlocks weren't conducive to rocking out too hard?
Dude, the dreadlocks were knocking the drumsticks out of my hands. Yeah, they were like whipping them out, and then like I think
extra
at some
cymbal
point,
hits here and there.
Dude, it sucked. And then I think we did a UK tour, and I just started one day with one dreadlock, and I just started combing out the bottom. Because that was another thing. Like, they were like, "So what the fuck are you gonna do? Are you gonna shave your head?" I'm like, "No, I'm gonna comb them out." They don't want to lose that long haired. We're all long haired kids, you know. Okay. As far as the instruments
so we're
go,
in a real predicament here. Like your dreads, you couldn't keep the dreads, but you couldn't shave your head. What do we do here?
I was like, so in the span of like 6 months, dude, I combed them out, and it was such a smooth transition. No one ever even fucking noticed. I think
there's no way that it didn't look like dog shit halfway through.
It did, but that's why if you look at videos of me playing, I always had wet hair. I always used to wet it so that at least if it was shorter. And when I combed some out, they were still like, there's a phase between 2007 and 2008 where my hair kind of, it goes from dreadlocks to like shorter layered hair, and then it just goes to fucking straight up long hair because my hair grows fast. But yeah, that was the thing. That was a big predicament I was in. I was like, I can't cut my hair, but I gotta cut these fucking dreads because I can't play drums, and they hurt too. Like trying to wrap up my bun, and it worked for guitar, but it never worked for drums for me. It hurt my neck because it's like a lot of weight. But that was an era.
That was pretty crazy because I remember everybody was going like bodkins back then too. You see old videos crazy to the point where you're like, he's gonna fall or something. Like it's insane the way people are moving. Yeah. But for a drummer, like people don't think about that, but like drumming period, doing that style of drumming, it's already a lot.
Yeah,
it wouldn't
the
be
cardio's already
understandable.
there, without moving too much. But I respect it, man. Like there's nothing. I have to say it. There's nothing I hate more than like a metal drummer that doesn't go all out on their kit. And like there's like a weird threshold where like if it's so fucking intense that like you can't physically do more than the task at hand, it's like I get it, but it's still boring to me. And then you see people like Grind, who like prove
Drake's his drum.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it just proves that he's not human, or I don't know what it proves, but he's able to pull it off, going crazy speeds and still rocking the fuck out. So I respect that, but I don't know. So I've always appreciated that about Suicide Silence, like the going all out type of thing, because it's like, man, it's metal, you know, like fuck, like there's an intensity there. It's like kind of counterintuitive for me to see a metal band not rocking the fuck out.
Yeah. I mean, for drumming, of course, Animal from the Muppets. I grew up watching that guy, and then after that, it was like if you look at old Joey Jordison videos, like and him twirling, I was just like, there's a Disaster Pieces DVD that has all the angles of all of them, and I remember watching it at my parents' house, and my brothers and my uncles were over like, how does that drummer play so good when he's fucking headbanging? Doesn't it hurt his head? I'm like, probably, but that shit don't matter. Like that's the whole point.
This man's got a job to do.
Yeah, you gotta look the way people feel when they listen to aggressive music. I feel sometimes, and it's like if we're sitting there feeling a certain way, it's if we're like looking at the band and that person's not getting off, who's in the band as much as I'm getting off. It's like, what the fuck's up with them, dude? Like, why do they have headphones on and they're playing like that. But as I got older, I was like, that's just the way certain drummers are, you know, like I'm not that way in the fucking studio. I can't even keep these things on. Like, I'm like, fuck, dude, I need in-ears, you know, cause it's like you play, I think our generation, especially with Suicide, that we played every show like it was our last show. Like still to this day, man, like if you look at Suicide playing in overseas right now, and like Mark and Dan and Eddie and Ernie, like those fuckers are putting it down. Like they're like, hey, our bus might crash. Some of us might not wake up tomorrow, but we have this show today, you know? And that's like, they're not caught up on like, well, the album, they're not worried about anything except for having that moment with the audience and connecting with them with those songs that are cherished by so many people, you know?
It's a connection too. Like you look at those old, because again, I live in the past like crazy. I don't think it's healthy the amount of times I watched I write even on YouTube 2005 Suicide Signs, or 2006 or 7. Like I watched like all those eras, and you look at the crowd, and it's almost like it's not like you're going to watch a show. It's like you're going in the show. Everybody's together. That's how it seems like. You look at all these performances, people are throwing themselves. It's like they're with the band. So the connection is way stronger. There is no disconnection that you usually have at a show. At least it just doesn't feel that way when you watch it. It's like everybody's together type thing. It's like we're playing, we're feeling it, but you guys are, you better go as crazy as we're going type thing. Like that's how it feels. Plus you've got Mitch was extremely scary and commending all the crazy. You have no choice, basically. You probably felt weird not going crazy at those shows. So I think it was a different experience. To your point, earlier you was saying that in death metal, most of the time it was more of a, you know, spinning hair, doing stuff like that. But the craziness that you guys were going for, we would see that more in the, I don't know, like hardcore, even early metalcore stuff. It was from outside. And I think that's why maybe people were surprised or latching onto it. It was a different thing. So
yeah, there was seeing like there was bands like, you know, Job for a Cowboy too, that it all shows in the music videos that they were putting out. I think Job for a Cowboy had that. And then you got to also remember that like everyone in Suicide Silence, Garza and, you know, Mitch, they all grew up at the Showcase Theater. So all these bands, and it's not like they went to go see the shows. Like Mitch, Mark, and Garza used to go to the Showcase just to hang out, like just to go hang out, because they knew the security. We knew like the people that worked there. Izad, the guy who owned the Showcase, he's the guy that he was on SOS Records. He's the guy that put out the first EP. He put out the Suicide EP. Somehow, like he just said, "Hey, put it out." Like he funded it. The guy who owned the Showcase. So like, they were there as family and friends and would watch shows. So like all these shows that came through, they did their homework, you know, and like the shows that went off the most were those Converge shows, were those Dillinger shows. And what made people like it so much, it's like the music was heavy and the fans interacted, but the musicians on stage interacted even more, you know. They were out there doing shit and keeping that like that fucking random shit in hand, you know. There's not for everyone, but it worked out for us a lot, you know.
Was I'm curious, and like from you like joining, and then there's, you know, you guys go to record the Cleansing and stuff. Like where does Century line up in all of that? Like did you know they were already moving with Century when you joined the band? Was that like shortly after? Like, because I assume it was obviously prior to going to the studio.
Yeah, no, I joined, and when I joined, they had a manager, Jerry Clubb, good friend. He was already trying to get the band to start making some bigger moves, from my understanding. And then when I joined, I think he was like, "Hey, we already have Century Media." So Jerry was already friends with Century Media. And the band I was in before, the Funeral Pyre, John Strawn, the singer of the Funeral Pyre, worked at Century Media. He was an intern, I believe. So, and Century Media had an office in El Segundo, so they were here in LA. So they were already on our radar. And I think back then we were like Century Media is cool because they're a European based label.
Yeah.
So like Europe is way better than America when it comes to like metal, you know, as far as like what labels are out here. Like there, I think Sumerian was around.
Yeah, I was in LA.
Sumerian was around, but Sumerian.
But they just started back then.
I was about to say it's their early days. Like,
they didn't have $100,000 to give us, you know, to sign with them. But yeah, we kind of had it in the bag, and I think we started meeting with this guy named George Valley. George Valley he was A&R for Century Media, and George was like, "Hey guys, we want to sign you. We want this." Like, so we were like, "Hey, this is both ways here, man." Like, fuck yeah. Like, I think he scouted us. If it wasn't George Valley, it was this guy named
Steve Joe.
Steve Joe.
Yes, sir.
Steve Joe is the one that actually would go to our shows. And this brings me back. Okay, so there is a story behind this.
Okay.
There was we knew Century Media wanted us. We knew we wanted them. But this Mike Gitter, who was with Roadrunner at the moment, he was trying to get Suicide Silence signed to Roadrunner. We even went to New York City and we went to the Roadrunner office and we got a bunch of CDs and shit. And he was trying to get them. I forgot who was working for I forget all these names too. Monty Connor. He was trying to get him to sign Suicide, but the thing is, they didn't want to sign Suicide because Mitch didn't sing. And they were like, well, so what? Like, you know, I forgot who else was on Roadrunner during this era. I feel like, was Killswitch Engage on Roadrunner?
I think so.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, Roadrunner was like at their peak at that time. Let's be real.
Yeah,
too. Like,
so we were trying to get on Roadrunner, and they basically said no, and we were like, and yeah, Mike Gitter was always going to our shows when we were on the East Coast, and I still see Mike. Mike's a great friend, and he signed the band again to Century when he moved to Century again, and all this shit. Roadrunner fucking gave us the note, and then we said, all right, Century Media it is, and we signed a 3-album deal with them. That's what it was.
So I was just kind of bringing that up because I think it's kind of crazy for your particular kind of trajectory with like joining the band, and then like shortly thereafter it's like, oh, the band I just joined is signed to Century Media, and like you're already doing all these massive fucking tours. Then you go do this record, which, you know, is probably you know, as you were saying, like kind of a surreal experience in itself too. And then it's kind of like lights out from there. Like the band from the album dropping, and then it fucking explodes, right? So all this is in like such a short amount of time in you joining the band.
Imagine people around you too. Like that's the other thing I was about to bring up. Like you're like, hey, listen, I'm gonna join this band.
He told his mom, man. He was like, I'm joining this band that's gonna be super successful.
But can you imagine? Usually you say that, and then you played 3 shows in front of 5 people, and people were like, "Oh, so that's your band." He went, and it's just like, I'm in the band. That's
dude, and crazy. It's crazy how my story is. Like even in high school with that Mile and Sheath band, like they broke up, and I was like, everyone got jobs, and everyone did whatever the fuck they did. And I was like, fuck this shit. I need to play. And then this band needed a guitar player, Blackheart Eulogy. And I just started, and then when that happened, this band was playing local shows like Chain Reaction and the Showcase. And then people in my peers were like, oh shit, you're in that band now? They're sick. And then it was like, that band broke up. And then I joined the Funeral Pyre. And they were like, Blackheart Eulogy did a tour with Garza Tomorrow and Himsa. Or we did my first tour ever. I was like 17 or 18. From LA all the way up to Seattle, Washington. And then like I was the only guy in my this is like 2002 or 3 that I was the only person in my musical peers who toured. And I was just like, we toured in a truck or something. But even then people were like, oh, you're touring, you're playing, dude. And then it was like, holy shit, you're in fucking Suicide Silence, that band that has that Kool-Aid guy jumping out of the wall on the video. Like, and yeah, it like, and even still, my family trips out. They're just like, so you went from Suicide Silence to fucking Youth of the Nation, POD, like what
arena status fucking band,
like what the fuck are you eating, man? Like what is going on? But it's also like I think that's just the vibe I give off. Like I'm always about the genuineness of things. Like I'm not an opportunistic people will only be your friends to fucking get what you have. And I'm not that way. I'm like opportunistic in the sense of like, hey, let me join forces with you and let's argue a lot about shit. But at the same time, let's do a lot of cool shit together and then make something beautiful that's going to be better than both of us in 20 years, you know, stuff like that.
But a lot of people have that attitude, but still don't go anywhere, right? Like respectfully, right? Like it's one thing to have that mindset, but it's still not like there's no guarantee. There's no
guarantee. Yeah. That's just the way it goes.
So the cookie crumbles.
It's going to be like a very specific thing to ask, but when Dom said like, oh, you know, the cleansing, everything, I'm just curious because you guys film, it's a lot of videos. I think you released like 3 videos. We're talking Price of Beauty. We're talking, Unanswered was like a mashup of, it's still a video, but it was like a show and everything. And then Bludgeon to Death, you know, do you remember how it was to like the experience of filming that? Because I don't know if you were prior to that in videos. Maybe not to that extent. We
did. So our manager Jerry Clubb, he went to college for videography. So he was not only a manager, but so those early videos, like he's just like, I'll edit them. We'll get live footage and we'll make. So like, if you look at the first
showcase video is him, right? Like to try to shop you guys.
Yep. He did the showcase video. He did the No Pity for a Coward video. That's like the first version of it. You could find it. There's a version of it where we're on tour with Sepultura. And then when we did the Mayhem tour, he's like, hey, the album's going to come out. Let's make a music video of a one day at the Mayhem, which was like the famous Unanswered Mayhem Festival where like, it's perfect because there's going to be thousands of people there who don't even know who the fuck we are, but there's thousands of people there, so it'll look cool on camera. We got motherfuckers on dirt bikes doing backflips, and we got we're doing signings to a line of people who's never fucking heard of us. You know, like they have, but a lot of people that were in the deathcore scene or the younger scene, like I don't think they were gonna go see Slipknot and Disturbed at an amphitheater. You know, they were just like they're there. We had some supporters there, but that also opened up the door when we realized like, hey, there's 2 routes here. Like, are we going to go the Job for a Cowboy route, and not a bad route, and be technical? And it was already out of the question for me because I'm not as good as Charn or Elliot or fucking any of those guys. And then, or you want to go the fucking rock and roll ride or die shit, you know, and that's kind of the route we went. We're like, well, who are our favorite bands? Like, Slipknot, Pantera, just the basic stuff. And it's like, Korn, big one. And
I felt like if I didn't mention it, Garza could be mad at me.
He'll be pissed. He's like, you're forgetting the most important band. And that was kind of like, that was our melting pot. You know, Garza was Korn, Mark was Pantera, I was Deftones, and Dan Kenny was like Deeds of Flesh or something like that, you know? So that kind of, but we did those. We were always a band that shot 2 videos in one day, or like 2 videos in 2 days. That's so crazy. I remember we shot Bludgeon to Death in New York. I don't know where, in Brooklyn, maybe like near a certain district. But the guy who directed it and shot it, he did a couple other videos of ours. I think he did Wake Up. I forgot his name, but you could find it online. Him and his wife, they're like, hey, we found this cool, like, fucking we hit him up. We're like, hey, we only have this much money. Could we shoot a video? We have a day off on tour in New York. He's like, yeah. They found a basement. They put us in there. They put some lights on us and smoke. And all those instruments we're playing was just from our trailer. We just moved it in the basement. Okay. And then We did an interview with the dudes from Metal Injection, actually. Phil, no, who was it? The two dudes from Frank and I forgot the name of the other guy, but Frank, who's still with Metal Injection. We did an interview. It's funny because on that interview, I'm infamous for falling down during interviews. Like I'm like standing there and like I just fall. And there's, if you could find them out there, they're out there. I fall a lot and I've fallen a lot. I eat shit and easily.
No fencing though at that interview?
That's half of it. Yeah. When I'm not being when I'm not being pantsed and pushed over, I'm falling on my own anyways.
Okay.
So that's part of my deal right there. But yeah, we had a quick turnaround. With
David Brodsky.
David Brodsky, yeah, he shot like 2 or 3 of our music videos.
My Good Eye videos. Yeah, he did like This Is Exile and stuff like that too, which is like a similar style to the super contrasty warehouse-y kind of stuff.
Yeah, he was really cool, and we were just like, shit. A, he wants to do it. A, he's affordable, and also he's cool to work with. I think where we shot the video was right by his house, and he let us go to his house and shower and like have dinner. And then he's like, all right, we're going to go shoot over down the street. And like our van, our little our tour van and trailers parked there. And we did that. And a lot of those videos were done live. And it's a big help was Jerry Clubb, our manager, had video editing skills and video shooting. So that dude was out there babysitting us and shooting videos and then going home and editing it and then saying like, hey, I'm going to turn this in. He was also had a good relationship with Century Media. So the family was tight knit and we were always able to, you know, finish everything we sought out to do, you know, with that record cycle with the Cleansing, which is, yeah, it's still crazy. He has footage of the whole studio situation, like us recording. He has it somewhere, and there when we recorded
gonna need that, by the way, but
yeah, there's he has the actual there's one song. It's not Destruction of what's this? I feel like an idiot. What's the that's called. I used to get them mixed up. It's Destruction of a Statue, and
it is Destruction of a Destruction of a Statue. It starts like that. Destruction of a Statue.
Okay, and then there's another one which it's not Destruction of a Statue. Fucking Mark or Garza would know the name of the song. It's one
because it starts like that.
There's a song that
the riff you just did was Destruction of a Statue. Guaranteed.
Okay. All right, so that's Destruction of a, which is the one that we redid with no, that was it. Well, anyways, that song I particularly remember him videotaping the song from the inside of the studio or outside through the window,
like outside the booth type of thing.
The booth, and we're performing it. I'm headbanging, Garza's headbanging, Mark's headbanging, Bodkins is going nuts. Mitch is in the fucking studio with a big ass boner, like, yeah. And we're laughing. And then when we were videotaping, I remember him videotaping it. And then when we stopped, he's like, that's the take. Like, that's going to be it. That's the one. And so somewhere there is going to be, there is a video
take of that specific, like,
there's a video out there that will line up perfectly with the take on the record out there somewhere.
I won't rest until I see that video.
Dude, we gotta bug Jerry Clubb about that one, because it's like he used to record everything. And I don't know, have you guys, it'd be cool for you guys to see. We made a Mitch documentary, Live Life Hard. And it's like an hour and a half long. And it's like that whole era from the time we got signed to the time we did our European tour, our first one, our Sworn Enemy tour, our album, and then like going into Mayhem Fest, and then a little everything up until the death. So it's like we never put it out because I don't know if we had licensing or if there was clearance, but there is a documentary that is already made about that whole era that's almost 10 years old already.
Because I've seen the one that's out, but it's not an hour and a half. Like it's like
a 30 minute.
Yeah, no, this one's This one's an actual full blown documentary.
You cannot just tell me that. Like I, like because it's a known thing. Like at this point, I'm just finding excuses to make videos about Mitch. Like I think I've started series on YouTube that it's just basically there's one episode and it's about Mitch, but like an hour and a half. I mean,
yeah, it's
do you
cool.
know if it's somewhere or if it's
the guys have it. I think I don't know why it didn't come out.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a reason why.
Yeah, but
I guess I want to know who do I need to bother with that? Like who do I need to
someone
sign
who the fuck-
NDAs, whatever anyone needs.
we could figure it out. But I remember we all had to like watch it a bunch of times because there was a lot of partying going on and we were kids and there's like, oh shit, look, someone's doing cocaine in the background, we can't have that. You know, it's like not like it wasn't us, but
that's why it ended up being 30 minutes.
yeah, and also like
okay, the hour was that basically. The other hour is
is all just drug use and strippers and
Motley Crue style.
Yeah, but yeah, there is a documentary out there. It could be that one you guys are talking about could be a shorter edited version of it.
Probably.
But there's a Live Life Hard video that's like somewhere, and it's either owned by Century or Nuclear, and they're just not putting it out, or it never got sent over to them because of what happened with oh yeah. See, this was put out, but this was what was played at the Mitch Memorial.
Okay.
This was what was played at the Mitch Memorial on the big screen. So this is not necessarily that particular documentary. So like at the Mitch Memorial, yeah, this was like on the big screen. They played this, and then immediately after,
and then you guys played afterwards. Okay.
Yes. So that's where this video came from. It's not the Live Life Hard documentary.
By the way, that's the exact interview I was talking. Like, you want to know how many times I've watched interviews of like it's on LT, but that's the exact interview that he's mentioning, the No Time to Bleed album. For you guys, it was I think he said like it was easy to outdo yourself because it wasn't recorded live. Like it was, you could do part by part. I think this was the exact interview he's saying that, if I recall. If not, people in the comments will have the pleasure of telling me I'm wrong. But.
Yeah. See how we're wearing Century Media shirts? We just got signed. We just got signed, so we're like, hey, you guys got shirts? Yeah. And then he's wearing a Sworn Enemy shirt, a Sworn Enemy hoodie. Oh, that's such a sick hoodie too. But we were always broing down with all these bands, and like I knew of Sworn Enemy before I met them. Like they did a tour with Poison the Well, and it came to Anaheim. And I went to go see Poison the Well, and then the singer comes out, we're fucking Sworn Enemy from New York. And then they start fucking each other up, and I'm like, this is scary. And then these motherfuckers are some big ass New York motherfuckers. And then we were in Europe, and we were on tour with Abigail Williams and Silosis. It's 2006. And then they were like, hey, you guys want to do a tour with Sepultura? Yeah. Hey, you guys want to do it in a bus? And we're like, whoa, but you have to share the bus with Sworn Enemy. Wow. Our first experience on a tour bus, and granted, we're fucking 19 years old. Our first experience on a tour bus, back when you could smoke cigarettes in a tour bus, this fucking red bus with the driver's name was Tom. Our first experience on tour bus was with Sworn Enemy, and they were already in there. They were like, hey kid, go fucking find a bunk back there. Like, we were like, oh my God, like, hey, what's up? We're from California, you know, what's up, dude? Far out, you know, like being like West Coasters. And then like, that was the first tour where I saw bandmates fist fight each other. I saw hookers. I saw a mountain of cocaine. I saw someone got arrested. Rest in peace, Paulie. Paulie got arrested for stealing DVDs at a truck stop. And I remember being so scared that the police came, knocked on the door, middle of tour, police showed up to our bus because we're outside of a truck stop. Paulie's been stealing DVDs from truck stops the whole tour. He's got a fucking mountain the size of your head of DVDs, and then they arrested him. And momentarily after, our driver's like, we gotta go, the next show. And then Lorenzo Antonucci, who's an actor now, he goes, hey, Lopez, looks like you're playing drums for us for the rest of the tour. And it's funny because Lorenzo was like, hey kid, you're gonna have to learn how to play some songs. And I was like, and Mitch actually was like, no, fuck you. Don't fucking come to our drummer, ask him to do extra shit for you. Like, don't fucking talk to him. Like, don't, you better, he stood up for me. That's crazy. I remember that. Like, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, man. I didn't, I'm like, he's like, yeah, he's got a fucking job to do. His job is to play for us, not to fucking fix your fucking band's mistakes. And so I ended up agreeing to do half the set. And then Corey Pierce from God Forbid flew in and did the other half. So that's when I met Corey Pierce from God Forbid, and which was an experience for me. I was just like, first of all, what the fuck happened last night? Second of all, the drummer of God Forbid's coming to tour with us. Fuck yeah. Like, so it's like a crazy situation happens. So you meet people. I was a huge God Forbid fan, still am. And meeting them, I was just like, and then of course, Corey is like a fucking brother from Jersey. And he's just like, they all speak each other's language. And I'm just sitting there like, this is crazy. Like, these guys are real road dogs. And granted, this is still our first experience on a bus. And then we kind of went into it pretty hard. Really interesting times. Like
because you did a few tours and then straight on a bus. Yeah.
It was. And then after that, we were in a van and trailer for another 2 years. This was the only time we did a bus just because we got a taste. And it was like, man, it was a really nasty bus. Like, it's probably the most budgeted bus. Like, the sheets, everything, everyone smoked cigarettes and weed, of course. So like, I remember, like, you can't really go on a bus and smoke a cigarette. Like, when we walked on this bus, everyone was like smoking ciggies in the back lounge, and I was just like, I guess this is just the way it is, I
guess I smoke now.
I think I started smoking then. That's how I started smoking.
Like, might as well.
Yeah, I think we were the kind of kids that were like, all right, we'll just join in, like, fuck it. But yeah, very good experience like that. I'll never forget that. Like, with these guys, like, we all carried our own weight. We didn't have crew back then, so like, we were all helping each other out, loading, unloading. We were all merch, which was crazy because we were selling a lot of merch. And then, meeting the Sepultura camp, meeting everyone had friends, right? So like, you tour and you get guests. So we were starting to meet people in our industry. And it was just like, oh shit, dude, blah, blah, Kevin Talley is here. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, and now it's like, I've developed now I'm introducing younger bands into people where it's like, oh shit, you don't know Greg from Dillinger? Oh shit, come over here, meet these guys. And they're like, hey, it's like, what? Me and this guy we've done some shit, like, so it's really cool to expand that. Cause I was always introduced to other like-minded, other idols of mine that way, just uncle you had that you just never met, and hopefully it creates something for like keeping that camaraderie,
that interaction is important too. Like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think again, and I saw several interviews, I think Mitch was big on that, like the impression you make on fans and taking the time and not because it means you might be tired, it might be 30 seconds for you, but it means the absolute world. Maybe that person drove like 8 hours just to see your show and stuff like that.
Yeah. So. Mitch was big about, like, I think a lot of people, not just him, a lot of people in my band, if you spent time and money for us, you deserved the world. So if someone's like, hey, I waited in line all day, I spent all my money, he'd be like, dude, you want some weed? Like, come on the bus, like, like,
want to get pens? I'm kidding.
Yeah, people would be like, people would just like be like enthralled by that. But like, that's the thing is, like, if someone spent a lot of time and money, and you can tell when someone has committed to contributing to something they love, he would always definitely take the time to talk to them all the time. It never failed. Like either of you guys, like both of you, if you were back then at a show, I could guarantee he would have been like, hey, these guys are outside, these Canadian kids, like, is it cool if they come up? It's like, yeah. And then you guys would be talking about the cleansing and he'd be right there listening. Like it's one of those.
My brain would have stopped working though, just to precise. Like, I don't think I could have handled it, but yeah, that's awesome. Sorry to cut you off, but.
Oh no, you're good. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. That's a big era of my life, of that era.
Well, I think it's a good place. I don't know about you, Dom, but I think it's a good place to maybe talk about the transition, because like the cleansing was big, sure, but let's be honest, like the No Time to Bleed cycle, the Golden Gods of War, like all that stuff was like another big era. Do you remember like just the transition of like how it was in terms of I don't know if there was like maybe pressure felt to record like a new album? Like obviously the cleansing did super well. Everybody's talking about you guys. There must have been some discussions about like, okay, so what do we now like? What do we write?
Following up for anyone is hard. We were on tour. We found out about Machine. And Machine did the Lamb of God record, Ashes to the Wake. And we were like, that album rips, like straight up. It's hard as fuck. It sounds good. Like Cleansing is like the punk rock version of what we're capable of. So we have these new songs that we started writing. And by then, I think in that era, 2008, we all could afford computers now. So we all had laptops. We all downloaded Logic, and I was starting to get into the world of, I was already into recording, but I started getting more into it. So we started having better pre-production. So once we got to that, we were like, let's record with Machine. He records to a click. Alex, how do you feel about that? I was like, I don't care. But the only thing about that I didn't know, which I learned really fast, promptly, was when I got there, his idea was like, first of all, they didn't really explain it. And I love not being in your comfort zone, because it pushes you to try harder and do things that you didn't know you're capable of. His idea was like, you're going to record everything isolated and separate. And I'm like, I don't even know what that means, but okay. So he had me track a song, and he's like, all right, now you're going to retrack it just with kick drums. And I'm like, all right, so I'll just listen to your original take. And I'm like, but I don't know. Like, I play on feeling. Like, I don't sit there with a note. I don't sit there like Chris Adler and write notations like I'm in Animals as Leaders or something. Like, that's just not how I roll. Like, I wish I could do that. That's a great gift. But none of my shit's premeditated. Nowadays, because of that, I do write shit now, like parts. We recorded everything separate. And like, he's like, all right, now record all your toms, but only play your toms. Don't play anything else. Okay.
Isn't that weird? Like, because you're so used to the motion of everything at once, to not go ahead and hit everything else.
Yeah. And that's I sat there after a couple songs and I'm like, all right, I got to actually start writing my parts. Like it's like, that's why a lot of the beats in No Time to Bleed are very like simple. Like the beginning of Disengaged, it's just this and then this and then this and then da 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 and dun dun. It's very like, because I was like, I gotta write shit that I could remember. Like all of a sudden I'm in school again. But if you're Lamb of God and you're Chris Adler and that's how you roll and you remember what you wrote, like just like a vocalist or a person playing a fucking video game or something, like you memorize by muscle memory. We didn't have these songs long enough, like the Cleansing, to sit there and write these parts to, which immediately, like, because of that, we figured it out. I was able to like sit on the computer because I know how to use Logic and design my MIDI and then find what fills I can do and then go into studio. And I was doing my own overdubs. And I just realized that this is not a method for a drummer like me to do. It sounded like great. It sounded fucking sick, but it wasn't until after that, when we recorded with Steve Evans, and he was just like, "What the fuck did he have you do?" I'm like, I recorded everything separate so that there's isolation with the cymbals. It's just like, what? Like, how did you guys? Why did you even do it that way? It's just like, well, that's what we were told. It's like, yeah, we're a bunch of 22-year-old kids being told that this is the way to do it, and that it's gonna blow people's heads off. And hindsight now, when I listen to it, we worked on it a lot. It got a lot of editing and stuff, but hindsight now, I'm like, oh, I see the sound of monstrous guitar. Like Garza, Mark played a lot of the guitar on it, just because Mark's a very studio guitar player. Like, he's really clean and could play over and over. Me and Garza are similar. Like, we go in there and we fucking smash it, and we're like, what happened? It's like, oh, well, you gotta like play this a certain way and tilt this, and so like once me and Garza were done, we left. Mark played all the bass on No Time to Bleed.
Okay.
So all the bass playing was done by Mark. Most of the guitar playing was by Mark, and a lot of the stuff that me and Garza hammered out was like, and there's like a studio updates for that whole thing. Mm-hmm. And then Mark and Mitch stood like for a month after we left, doing all kinds of crazy shit. They were living with we were living with Pat, Fat Pat from Fit for an Autopsy. So you guys heard of Fit for an Autopsy?
Yeah,
right?
yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Sheridan,
sure.
of course.
Yeah, he opened up his house to us. So there was like fucking 4 dudes living there, and his kid was only like, I don't think he had a kid yet. No, he didn't. But he was a good friend that let us live in Jersey. So every morning, he lived about 2 hours away from New York, or like Hoboken, where we recorded. So me being one of the only people that could drive, I would once again.
Wait, you're doing a 4-hour commute?
Yeah, I would drive there, and I think Garza would drive us back. And then I think Mark might have had his license by then, because you got to remember when in 2006, Mark was only like 17 or 18 years old. Mm-hmm. So, and he dropped out of high school to rock and roll, you know? So like there was a lot of stuff where it's like, oh, I still have to get a license. It's like, fuck that. You're going to be on a bus. It doesn't matter. All right, I'll wait next year. It's like, so like, yeah. I think he started driving. We all started kind of like, they started driving at that time, but we used to commute very far. But that's a good experience, because we got to really hang out and meet the people that were living in New York. That's when we kind of met up with like Emure. Who else was there? We did all go to a Slipknot show when they played at the Garden. I remember that. It was like we were in the studio one day, and it's like, hey, we got tickets to Slipknot at the Garden. It's like, let's fucking go. And we went down there and saw it. But that was a very long process. But that's also how we met Will Putney. And Will Putney had a lot to do with helping me hone in to the drums. And he engineered the whole album. So Machine kind of came in later to produce Mitch's vocals. But Will Putney was there dealing with my shit and Mark's shit, Garza's shit for the whole beginning of time, until we actually he was starting to edit. But that's obviously Will Putney did a bunch of great shit after that. We never that's what
I was gonna say. That was like early days Putney, when he was, interning, I guess, for Machine, right? Which is like crazy again, like you said, to see where he took it afterwards, and for deathcore in general too, specifically, like he went on to he definitely left his mark, well, and still is, but for deathcore early 2010s, like Putney was everything,
Yep.
Yeah, we were on that album. Was also like, we're like, oh, do we bring amp? I don't think they used real amps, or they might have. I think a lot of it was just guitar simulators and emulators that we were just kind of like, I think the guys might have been like, wait, this feels weird. It's like, yeah, we're gonna reamp it later. I don't know what reamping means, but sure. They might have ran it, but when they tracked it, we were tracking it like just MIDI or just guitar simulator.
Just the DI, and
yeah, and then it turned into like reamping, and then the guitar tone on that album is heavy and dreamy, and like a lot of that was like, I never knew how big Mark was into like Gojira or Opeth back then, and it wasn't. I think he's even told people, he's just like, because I didn't really listen to Gojira a lot in general until like fucking 7 years ago, but there's shit that Garza or Mark does, and I'm like, dude, I'm listening to Gojira. There's like this part that sounds like something off Black Crown. He's like, duh. What do you think? Like, that's where he's like, I made you play Gojira style shit without you even knowing you were playing Gojira style shit. Because they would always try to tell me like, hey, Alex, you should listen to, you know, this record. I'm like, I'm just gonna listen to the Beatles, man. It's all good, you know. And then it's just like they kind of like did some Inception shit on me where they're like, play something that goes with this fill and this guitar part, and it's like, cool. And they're like, he doesn't know it, but he's playing like Obituary right now. He just doesn't know, like, you know, like there's certain things that like they kind of tricked me into playing. But all in all, at least I know it came from like an organic place. I wasn't trying to rip anyone off or anything like that ever.
But it's crazy. It's crazy to hear you talk about, you know, that studio experience versus, you know, how it was for the Cleansing, because they couldn't be so different from one from another.
Yeah. One was live. The other one was the absolute opposite of live. And then you have the album like The Black Crown, which was like a combination of both. We already knew what we wanted. We knew, hey, Alex is gonna track like the way like everything is gonna be done there. So we're gonna run it over with him. Like I tracked just like I don't know how many bands do it this way, but we would do pre-production all the time. So we already knew what we were playing when we went in there. Mm-hmm. And then we did pre-production with Steve Evans. And it's funny how we got the. So we're trying to find a producer for The Black Crown, and it was like 2009 or 10 or something, 2010. And I was like, we couldn't figure it out. We were like, should we get this dude? Let's get Terry Date. Yeah, right. Let's get Ross Robinson. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. And then one day I'm sitting there. Right. One day we can get to how I met Ross Robinson.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And how I got him to do the Suicide record. I was listening to Every Time I Die's record, The Big Dirty. Mm. And I was like, it just came on my playlist, and I was like, yo, this is exactly like this drum sound, this oil, right? It's not ones and zeros. It's like oil, like it's fluid, but it's on time. It's on click. I'm like, this is sick. Who the fuck recorded this? And I saw Steve Evans, and I typed in Steve Evans, and I'm like, oh shit, he's the guy who recorded Hatebreed's first record. Oh shit, he did Glassjaw. He mixed Glassjaw's record. Oh shit, he did Dillinger Escape Plan records. Like this is the guy. And I messaged the band. I'm like, hey guys, we should get Steve Evans to do it. And they all go like, they all do a question marks like, what? Who? What? Like, yeah. What? No, but the thing is like, dude, we already agreed. Like, he's doing our record. Where have you been? So they are. I wish I could go back and to find my text message. I felt like a fucking idiot. I was like, so all this lightning in a bottle moment I had of this whole, it was like 2 a.m. when I texted them, and they're like, does Alex not know that we already agreed with Steve Evans? Like, and they kind of, I think at some point I'm like, I don't fucking care. You guys decide. I was still looking at albums and listening. So one of those God universal things, like
it had to happen that way. Yeah.
He answered for me of something that I already, I was like, this is the guy, he's got to do it. And they're like, yeah, we know he already said he'll do it. He's talking to, Jerry already. And like, I was so stoked. And then, of course, meeting him and like when we were tracking The Black Crown with him, he brought Ross Robinson in one day, and we were all just like, oh I think me and Garza just hid. Like we weren't even like, he helped him because he wanted to edit the drums a certain way. Cause he like Evans was on to us like, oh shit, this band's kind of like they're a certain type of modern situation. but the drums have to be like raw, but just put through a fucking a kick-ass pedal, you know, blah. And they don't want to like do too much editing or fixing and stuff like that, you know, layering, but no doubling, no samples,
like
none of that
punching
shit.
in and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, like we did some punch-ins and stuff like that, but at the most part, it was like I went in there, did what I had to do, and get out. And then that's how that whole record and that album, we're like, from now on, we're gonna track, you know, like with real Mesa cabs.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Old reliable.
Yeah, and like we kind of like spent time with that, and then everyone in the band, like the guitar players, started to get their own like custom guitars, which I love. Like being a guitar player, I was like, every time Mark gets a new fucking guitar, I'm like, I'm jealous. Like, fuck, you got Jackson to make you your own V, and it's some Mark Howe. Like when they got his first signature guitar from ESP, it was so cool. And then Garza, like being like, you know, all this is cool, but I've always loved Fender. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna talk to Fender. It's fucking do it, dude.
Yep.
Now he has his own seven from
the seven Strat, one of a kind.
Yeah,
it's so sick, dude.
It's crazy. It's just like during that era, like they started getting their stuff, so our tones started changing. I had an endorsement
with the gear,
with the gear, so our tones started getting better and different level. But that's how the Black Crown was like.
But wait, you glossed over Ross Robinson. He was brought into the studio for some editing thing. What was the deal there?
I know that he was there for one day. I was in the tracking room when he was in the. I was in the what's it called? There's the live room, and then there's the
control room.
Yeah. He was in the control room, and I was in the tracking room. So I don't know. I was just playing drums, and I know that he was hearing me, and I was like, "Fuck!" Like this is crazy.
He's done all your records, right? Like he's done all the legendary shit that you listen to, right?
Yeah, and it's like and kind of like where it went with there, and he was just there for that one day just to help Ross with some kind of situation, or maybe he was just so Ross and Steve Evans are close old friends because they worked on multiple records together. They did I think they did The Cure, some Robert Smith The Cure record, like Evans edits. They call him Steve Edits sometimes. Okay. Steve Evans is a producer, but he's a very good editor and mixer. He mixes albums. Ross Robinson only records. He doesn't mix.
Producer. Yeah.
He's the producer. He's the psychologist. He gets the tones. Oh, fuck yeah. And then he goes, record. All right. And he knows how to do the general punching in. But then he sends that mess to Evans, and Evans does all the formal mixing and stuff like that. So they've had this relationship going on for years and years and years and years and stuff like that. So, and the Cleansing, a fun fact, when we were trying to think of the name, our manager was infamous for naming our records.
Okay.
So yeah, those I don't know if this is gonna ruin people's idea or if it's too much information, but whatever. It's not old news. Mitch was always like, yeah, if you think of a fucking cool name for a song or an album, like tell me, let's just do it. Like I'm not gonna. He wasn't very territorial when it came to song titles. There's some song titles that I named because I was like, yo, it'd be really cool if we just named the song blah 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 blah. It's like, oh, that's cool. Put that in there. You know, Mitch's songs his names were always very like simple. Lifted, Smoke, fucking shit,
Farm,
crap. You know, like. What? Yeah, really simple, cool shit like hip hop words, like hip hop songs. And then we were trying to think of a name for the Cleansing, and we thought of like the name Genocide or something like along those lines. And then Jerry's was like, "What's the definition of the definition of genocide is if you look it up, it has to do with something like the cleansing of a nation or the complete cleansing of a culture, blah, blah, blah." And then I think Mark or Mitch were like, or Garza was like, what if we just call it the Cleansing? And it's like, oh fuck. And I was like, that's kind of like, what are we, a soap company now? Or like, you know, like, so like the name of the album was, I think in that ballpark. So Jerry did name it. And then with No Time to Bleed, I don't think we had any working titles. And one day our manager came in, he's just like, yo, so I thought about this and I think we should call the album No Time to Bleed. And I know that quote from Predator, the movie Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And there's Jesse the Body Ventura, who was a senator and a wrestler. He's an actor in the movie. And then there's a scene. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. Do you?
I don't know the scene. No, I mean, I've seen Terminator so fucking long ago. But
yeah. No, it's a Predator.
Predator, sorry, yeah.
Predator. So there's a scene in Predator. You could probably find it. It's the scene is Jesse the Body Ventura is like doing some shit. And then one of the guys goes, oh my God, you're fucking bleeding. And he goes, what? I ain't got time to bleed. And he goes and tries to fuck up some dude. So that name actually came from an extension of that movie scene. And at some point, I think everyone in the band's like, it doesn't fucking matter what you call the album name. Like, it doesn't, like, No Time to Bleed. It's just stupid enough to work and not be named something else, you know? So that's how that got named, which is Jerry Club. And then I think the Black Crown was different, though. And when we were doing it, Jerry thought of the name Bet on Black. When I started listening to At the Gates back in 02 or 03, there was a band that was kind of, I bought a CD At the Gates, Slaughter of the Soul, and I bought this album from the band called The Crown. There was a band called The Crown.
Hell yeah.
The Crown, right?
Fucking band. Yeah, The Crown, yeah.
Okay, so The Crown I listened to, and I was like, we're on a text message, like, what are we going to call this album? If you can't think of anything, let's call it Bet on Black. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, all right, The Crown. We're from Corona, right? Like, is that cool? Yeah. And I'm like, wait a minute. So my favorite Deftones album is White Pony. So he already said Black, Bet on Black, because Jerry just got back from Vegas and won money. So he's like, Bet on Black. Probably would have been a cool name for the album. But I was kind of like, I was like, dude, I don't know. Okay, White Pony, The Crown, Bet on Black. What if we call it The Black Crown? And the design, like the Black Crown, what about that? And it's a combination of the White Pony, Bet on Black, and The Crown. And immediately I started, I did graphic design. I drew out a crown, and I could probably send it to you guys and you could show it right here. Oh, hell
yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, right? My initial design that ended up being what the guy who designed it drew up. And I'm like, yeah, let's make it 5 points. And every point is one of us. And it's the crown. And we're from Corona. Corona in Spanish means crown. Mm-hmm. So that's how that name came about.
Am I crazy also? Because I remember Mitch in an interview, like all that you just said, he said it, but he also said that it was also a way for you to, like, there was so many bands trying to rip up Suicide Silence at that time, and it was a way to, like, just like the crown, like you're the kind of ahead of the game type thing. I could have dreamt that, but I think he said that.
There was like what's it called when it's like yes, and it's kind of like how something, you could have a meaning in the beginning, but then later on you could be like, hey, that could be another meaning of it. And yes, like Korn having an album called Follow the Leader didn't necessarily mean, hey, jump off the cliff with this little girl, right? It could mean like, Korn, we're the shit, follow us, follow the leader, motherfuckers. Like, that could mean that. The Crown, I think after that, it's just like, yeah, this is like, we're the fucking kings of this shit. Like, this is where it is. And also the Cleansing was like, the second way to look at it was like, all the shit that's out don't mean shit. This album is about to go clean the whole fucking the whole scene right now. This album could clean it. And then No Time to Bleed, I don't know what that could be used as. It could be like, we just we had
technically don't have time to bleed. I mean, you guys were busy. You don't have time to bleed, technically.
Yeah, and it's kind of like it could fall on those lines. And I think after that, You Can't Stop Me. Well, You Can't Stop Me was another Evis record. And that album was thought about. Like those were his lyrics. It was
Yeah.
he had lyrics for that song, and then we wrote the music already. He was about to record music for it, or vocals, and he passed away. So when he'd sent those lyrics to Evitz, and when we were in the studio and we were like reading his lyrics, everyone had the lyrics in front of them, and we were listening to the song, and he's like, hey, any type of stylings you have, let's talk to Eddie, and Eddie can kind of do them based off of what we think, which is not real thoughts of what Mitch would do. And then we compiled it, and at the very end we were like, what are we gonna name this record? And it was just like, dude, look at the fucking last words on the lyrics. It's you can't fucking stop me. It was gonna be you can't fucking stop me maybe, but it's like, let's just make it you can't stop me. So that was an homage to that, you know, which is a really cool era of I feel like You Can't Stop Me was musically like pretty evolved as far as the technicality that we were capable of at that era, you know, because there is a lot of crazy shit that goes on, like the drum work. Like I recorded the Black Crown with Evitz, and then later on I recorded this band called Ice Set to Kill from Arizona. I tracked drums on that album, this album called Masks, and it was with Steve Evitz the next year. And then the next year I recorded You Can't Stop Me. So I was already on this like producer, drummer, Phil Jackson, Kobe Bryant shit, where we were both like, hey man,
y'all are in sync. Like you got the routine down pat.
Yeah, and it's kind of that connection that that's why a lot of producers work with the same bands a lot. They're like, they have a routine, they have the system, and like there's no egos, and everyone just wants to make something really magical. So that kind of worked out with that. And then, you know, everything did move fast though. Like it's crazy how being in a band, it's like, all right, your album's out now, and it's out. And then now people are like, so when's the next album coming out? It's like, fuck, dude, hasn't even been a year yet. Like, chill, you know?
Like everything, you know? And not to cut you off, by the way, but I would absolutely hate myself if I don't talk about it. So I'm going to rewind just a bit.
Yeah, it's all good.
The Golden Gods, dude. Like, you played drums in a suit, in a freaking suit.
That's got to be worse than dreads.
Dude, like, we got to talk about that. Like, that's, by the way, like, I'm sure you're fully aware, but that's like a very iconic moment, like a well-known moment in deathcore history. Like, if I dare not include that as I'm talking about Suicide Silence, people are very upset. So I'm just curious, what from your side, like your experience doing that with the band, like how was that?
Yeah, I feel like that was Mitch's idea. I think he said we should all wear suits. All right, no, because we knew it was Golden God Awards, so I think we knew people were gonna be wearing like fucking leather jackets and rock star shit. And I think Mitch was like, let's all wear suits and then let's play in suits. And I thought it was cool because I was like, oh, that means like we're like the Beatles now, you know?
I was like, heavier version, but
I was like, hey man, if I could be a Beatle or like anything like Ringo, let's do it, you know? But it was kind of like a weird idea because none of us, like, I felt awkward in a suit in general. And I think we were kind of like, we went to we went to get fitted, and we went to like Men's Warehouse to get fitted, rented suits that were expensive, like for a wedding.
Did you mention that you were going to play drums in it, or was it fitted for attending a wedding? I'm just because those are two different things.
Yeah. I think we said we were going to an awards show, and then I remember getting ready for it and being like, shit, like there's a certain point for performing musicians where you're like, you're wearing your chill clothes, right? You're on tour, and then it's like, all right, power hour. Power hour is the hour between the time it starts and the time you play. Mm-hmm. And power hour is when a person, a lot of bands call it power hour or don't, but it's when you do your breathing exercise, your warm-ups, to some people, that's when you drink beer. To some people, that's when you start practicing the kit or
all of this together.
Or all of it at the same time. But yeah, with the Golden Gods and the suits, like I remember like we were all walking around the whole day doing interviews. That's when we met Jose Manguin.
Okay.
Oh, quick little story.
Yeah.
We did a Golden Gods, and it was maybe the last year Mitch was alive, and we were there, and Austin Carlile was there, and Jose's never met Austin Carlile, so we're all hanging out, everyone except for Mitch, right? Mitch is like somewhere in the bar, and Austin's where you would think, and then Jose's fucked up and he goes, "What's up, guys? Hey, what's up? Orale, what's up, homie?" And he looks at Austin, goes, "Who the fuck are you?" And I'm like, "Yo, this is Austin Carlile of Mice and Men." And he goes, "Of Mice and who?" Like, he didn't know who they were. And then it's funny because that happened again with Jose when he met Franz from Attila. I'm like, "Oh, this is Franz. He's in Attila." He goes, "What? Godzilla?" Like, but now, like, it's funny because Jose's like innocent. Like, he's one of my. I call him and Melissa, his wife, like my godparents. Even though I'm too old for them to watch after me if my parents die. Mm-hmm. In the Hispanic culture, or most cultures, like if you have godparents, your Nino, Nina, like they take care of you. But that was a funny story that I had to share. But the reaction that he had when he was drunk and he's looking at it, he's like, "Wait a minute, who the fuck are you?" It was like it was literally the funniest shit ever. We're like, "Oh, he's in this band." He's like, "Wait, what band?" Like, how come? And then Mitch comes and like I remember we were hanging out, and I'm surprised I even remember that. But getting back to the Golden Gods, we were there hanging out. Power hour happens. I'm still in a suit. I didn't put my trainers on. I don't have my basketball shorts on. And then just getting on stage, and we had to set up our own shit earlier, and luckily our techs were there. And I think this is around the Mayhem era. We're about to play, and we're standing on the side stage, and Ozzy Osbourne was like right standing with us, like while we're waiting. And him and Sharon Osbourne are there, and then Kat Von D's right there. And it was at that moment where I was like, holy shit, like we're about to play for MTV, and Ozzy Osbourne's about to present something, and Kat Von D is going to go out with them or something, and we come on right after. And that's when it all hit me, like, this is crazy. Like, this is insane. And here I am in a fucking suit instead of like something. But like at the end, like I remember people kept talking about it. Like, "Oh dude, that video, like where you guys are playing in suits." And it's been that way forever. It's just like, I don't think anybody's fucking done that in in the metal scene, or even in like the general like heavy music scene. Like, there, aside from the fucking Beatles doing that shit, I don't know if anyone else has too many times. I'm sure there is, though, if we could find out.
Well, people in the comments will be sure to find out.
Yeah.
Every single time it's happened.
They did it first in 1974, like something like that. But it was like again, like a big moment. Like, it's like, as you said, I mean, we're talking MTV and stuff like that. And
because it's not just the suits, right? Like, I think it also has to do with like the how heavy the fucking music was, and how heavy of a band you guys were to be like on television in that way, right? It was kind of unprecedented.
That's what I was about to say. Because if you take a band, and no disrespect, like all the credit to those bands as well, but like you take a band like Asking Alexandria, and you could see how they're singing in it. It's a bit more accessible. Or you take like Of Mice and Men, which like towards the end, like you mentioned that Austin has a big range, and the more the band was going, the closer it was to, let's say, bands like Linkin Park and stuff like that. So it was way more accessible. But playing unanswered, it's the furthest thing from accessible. It's the opposite.
The bleeping. Is it like half bleeped? It's like
It's hilarious how that worked out. They were supposed to bleep out the bad words, but they bleeped out like the "hey, beep beep beep" and "where is your fuck." The people that its job was to bleep didn't have the lyrics, so they didn't bleep the fucks. They only bleep the parts like, "All right, you mother beep, raise it up."
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. That's it.
And that's the story of that person losing their job.
They're like, you bleeped only when he was talking, but when he was saying the lyrics, Nothing. But hey, we got to say fuck a bunch of times. Fucking, where's your fucking God on MTV? And it's still, you could still look for it on YouTube, and he's not being bleeped, just in that fill. It's like beep, 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 beep. And then, yeah, it's so good.
The person couldn't understand. They were just like, I'm winging it. I'm bleeping something. Just hoping that maybe that's the part. But that was crazy though. Like, honestly, I think for everybody, it was just like, I think it was also an obvious statement of like how big suicide was at that time. Like it was, I think for deathcore, it was huge. Period. Like, even though at the time Garza talked a lot about that, it was a bit more maybe competitive within the scene or whatever, but nonetheless, it was like, looking back, I think it was a big win for the entire scene. Like, you're next to, you said it yourself, you're next to Ozzy Osbourne. Like, there's no denying it. It's just like we're here. Like, the whole world is seeing deathcore and the wrong words being bleeped. But that's we changed.
There's a lot of pioneers in deathcore for sure. A lot of it coming from Despised Icon and All Shall Perish. And I think that we were like the first band to kind of create our own version of it, but also start putting it into the faces of mainstream, like mainstreamness. And not that we were like intentionally like kissing ass out there. People were just like, hey, dude, like, you guys are cool kids and you guys want to do this award show. And just by chance, we met people, and we happened to fucking think it was a good idea to wear suits. I don't know how that happened. And I was kind of like, I was low key mad about it. I was like, fuck, like, and then there's video of like me playing, and I'm like doing this, like holding my stick down, because the monitor was so loud that I couldn't even, my head was rattled that I couldn't even play. So like there was a little bit of technical stuff going on, but in that era of us, we were not on in-ears, we were not on click. Everyone had amps with pedal boards with pedals that we had since 7th grade. You know, like we were like amateurs, but that was the beginning of the rocket ship for sure. That it was like after Golden Gods came more things that we were kind of like, all right, like, if we're on this level, we have the opportunity to make music that we enjoy listening to as well. And if our heart is not in at that era, mainly for my skills, was not in like a crazy death metal demographic, then it was kind of like, let's just stick to that kind of style, you know. And then years later, you have the self-titled record that came out.
We got to talk about this. I mean, real quick, I want to say we are running long here, but you know, we're chilling if you're chilling. But I'd also understand.
It's up to you, man. It's up to you, really.
I'm hanging, dude. Have we been? Oh, we've been on for like what, over 2 hours now?
Yeah. It's just it's almost 2.5. Yeah.
You just want to be mindful of your of your time.
I'm cool. I'm chilling, dude. I have my coffee right here. I'm hanging.
Because I'd love to talk about, you know, the self-titled, because it was such a polarizing record, and you know, we've spent a lot of time during this conversation talking about the different styles of recording, you know, that kind of happened throughout the records, and obviously this one I felt was, you know, the I don't know. I'd love for you to kind of explain to us maybe what the mindset was behind, you know, that style of recording after having done the previous ones, and what the idea was, and then, you know, ultimately talk about the aftermath, if we will.
How it started. So after You Can't Stop Me, we all kind of like have just kind of like finished this album that was already started, right? So this album was intended for Mitch to sing on, and we said, let's write the music, and as we're writing the music, let's see how a singer would feel on it, who would feel good on it. And I think it was kind of a no-brainer that Eddie was just like, not only our friend, our brother who we toured with. Eddie used to, like, when Suicide and All Shall Perish toured together, Eddie would stay on our bus. We'd have a bunk for him underneath, like right there, and he would be up all night with Mitch in the back lounge smoking weed, talking about life, or he would be out with me jogging in the morning, talking about life, or he would be out with fucking. Eddie is like, I don't know if he's a guy. He's a good guy to have on this podcast too, man. Eddie is like, I'll cry right now. Like, I love that guy so much with all my heart, mostly because I've put him through so much shit. But
you owe him at least some amount of respect.
I love that guy so much. And I think aside from that, when we after that album, after You Can't Stop Me came out, we're all on a stage of like, all right, we just grieved everything. It's been a couple years. Everyone has girlfriends. Everyone is starting to get their, different apartments and moving, and shit's starting to get like, we're becoming older. We're 27 now, 28 years old. And then we started talking about writing new music. And in this era, I think Garza and Mark were kind of venturing off, like saying how we're like the Beatles. They started venturing off into the more psychedelic, spiritual realm of music, which is fucking awesome. Like, I'm glad they're that way. Like, they both opened up their third eye and started like, why do we have to be a certain way? Why do we have to do certain things? Like, we could still be heavy, but let's start to like really figure out what kind of music we want to write without the thought of anybody having expectations. So when we started writing self-titled, I think we kind of already knew it. Like, or maybe we didn't yet. But Mark started having us do like a transcendental meditation, which is like, we'd get into the jam room in the morning and everyone sits down, right? It's quiet. It's early in the morning, like 9 or 10 a.m. And we would all just sit there and meditate. It sounds weird, but a lot of bands did this, like Red Hot Chili Peppers and a bunch of bands like that have explored those realms, and bands that sit together and write together. So we started kind of meditating before jam sessions, and then everyone would like get on the same wavelength, right? Because we're vibing, right? Everything is vibrations and frequencies. So once everybody was on the same, like if you sit in the same room as 4 other guys and you just stay quiet and everybody starts to match breathing, you start to become on the same page. And then, Mark would pick up a guitar, start writing. And then I would pick up the drumsticks. And we start to do these jam sessions that we push record and go for like 2 hours. And then after, we'd stop. Oh, man, that was cool. All right. Because it would go like from jam to fucking brutal shit to chill to way breakdowns to this. And then we'd stop. We'd go back and listen to it and be like, oh, this part's cool. Let's cut it. Let's start saving all these little sections and let's see if we could put it together. And then like we'd save it and then do it again for another day. And then we started doing this for like months. And then at some point we stopped and we're like, all right, let's look at all the shit we have already and make songs out of it. That happened. And during this process, what was I doing? I was in LA at a venue called the Dub Club in Echo Park. And I went to go see a band called Head Wound City. And I was meeting up with Greg, Dillinger, K Plan Greg. He was there. We're hanging out. We're getting fucked up. He introduces me to Fred, who's in Deftones now. All right. This is 2016. Name drops. All right. I'm just going to start dropping all these fucking names. Head Wound City's playing. And I talking to Greg and Fred, and we're just chilling. And then I see Ross Robinson like out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, he goes, oh shit. I'm like, and then Ross comes over and he says, what's up to Fred? He says, what's up to Greg? And I'm like, what's up, Ross? Hey man, I'm Alex. I'm in Suicide Silence. He goes, oh, what's up, dude? Like, yeah, I know like that you were in there with Evans and I've heard of you guys. Your band's fucking sick. I'm like, and I was drunk and I'm like, dude, can you please record our next fucking record? And he's like, fuck yeah, I will. Hell yeah. Like, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, and I'm like, yeah, we're not all fucking studio clicked out fucking, pet like digital shit. Like we're going back to our roots and starting to write music that comes from inside. It's just like, yeah, whatever. Like, sure. And like, I remember talking to him and like actually saying like, yeah, man, like obviously you produced Korn and you produced Sepultura and you produced a band that I really love a lot, a band called At the Drive-In, and they have a record called Relationship and Command, which is like one of my favorite albums of all time. And I was just like, always loved that tonality of that record. And you could hear some of my drum stylings that are very inspired by that album that's on Self-Titled. But that's how it happened. We were on a different plane set, and then one day Ross came to Garza's house and we showed him some of the songs. Like, they couldn't believe it. They're like, damn, dude.
He came down to the garage.
He came down to the garage, like, and they couldn't believe it. They were like, no, we're not like, we're just kind of, we hope you didn't, it's called punishing. When you punish someone,
yeah, sure,
is when a drunk guy comes
That's
up
all
to you.
we do with this podcast, for what it's
I do
worth.
that all the time. Yeah.
So
we're familiar.
So they were professional punishers.
Yes.
They were just like, oh man, I hope Alex didn't punish him. Like, fuck. And I was like, I hope I didn't either, you know? And then they were just like, I even talked to Greg. I was just like, yo, like, was I punishing him? He's like, no, like, kind of, but it's all good. You know, you're fine. And then, yeah.
Just to put your anxiety at ease there, you know, just make you feel good.
Totally lied to me. And yeah, we reached out to him, his producer, his manager, and he's like, yeah, Ross is interested in producing your next album. You know, you have a budget from Nuclear Blast. They didn't know what it sounded like. They just like, oh, Ross Robinson, Suicide Sounds, it's going to be sick. Yes. How much money do you want? Sure. Doesn't matter. Here you go. And we went in there, and Ross started getting in our soul. Like, hey, like, this is the idea for the album. You guys continue this path of writing things that just come to you and feel good. I don't want you to think about anything outside of this room. Like, let's write this album as if, and this is the best way to explain it. Like, you guys, especially, like, think of it like if you are by yourself in an island and your job is to paint a big mural on a canvas, right? And you could do any color you want. You could do anything you want. No one's ever going to see it. Have it come from your heart. Have it be real. And at the very end, you're just going to light it on fire and watch it burn down to nothing. Like, so that means that anything you create is from yourself without ever worrying about what anyone else thinks about it. Now, if you really think about what that is, it sounds like, holy shit. Like, should we, you know, hindsight, it's like, maybe that wasn't a good idea. But I don't.
People will listen to it, yeah, effectively.
Because people are going to listen to it, and people are going to do this. Because that's why I was just like, wow, we're recording with Ross. I'm not going to try. And also, I found out that Ross doesn't work with bands if he doesn't fucking click with the drummer. And there's a lot of bands that are like, oh yeah, we came over to the studio and we jammed for him, and he said no, like, this happens. And when he said fuck yeah, and then once I started living at his studio and drumming and everything, like, I was punishing him. Ross is punishing the shit out of him. He loved it. Well, he liked it because I was funny and I always fucked around, and he was just like, dude, like, I can be funny, you know, I can fuck around. But he kind of saw my humor, and we had the same circle of friends, and it all worked out humbly. And that was it. Like, we went into that studio, and we didn't want him to make us sound like any other band. We wanted him to make us sound like a Ross Robinson thing, you know. And even still, like, we kept outdoing our own organic sound. Like, well, the drums, let's make them sound more like from the 70s. Let's just not put click on this kick drum, you know. Let's use fatter snare tone instead of higher pitch snare tone. Let's rip off the bottom heads of our toms and just mic them underneath like they did on the disco records. Like, we were using vintage stuff and all that stuff, but I think there was a lot of vulnerability on that record and a lot of honesty. And at the same time, we kept saying, like, it doesn't matter, man. Like, we're just going to get the hard drive and throw it onto the ocean. Because he lived right off in Venice. He lived in Venice Beach. So every time we were like overthinking parts, and, you know, Mark and Garza are there, and they have a bunch of pedals on the fucking ground, and they're punching shit and twisting things, and it's all like, oh man, what happened? It's like, doesn't matter, bro. We're just gonna throw it out in the ocean after. So we kept saying we're gonna throw it away anyways. Like, just do what you feel in this moment, and that's kind of the approach to the self-titled record. And of course, we were like, well, he did Korn self-titled, he did Slipknot self-titled. There's only one way to call this album.
Yeah.
And by the way, Slipknot self-titled, sorry, it's just like, that's still to this day one of my favorite things in the world. Sorry to cut you off, but you just
good,
said
yeah.
Slipknot self-titled. It's such.
Oh, dude, he has like the original reel-to-reel tapes, because we used a tape machine. We used an old school Neve console. That whole album was recorded with no click as well. Mm-hmm. It was done raw. But when we had Joe Baris mix it, we kind of had him intentionally mix it very raw sounding still. Like, we still wanted to keep this, and also we wanted to show people that we weren't fucking scared to conform. Like, there's a song called Conformity on the album that's like, everybody's just using the same shit. Everyone's using the same pedals and the same guitars, and trying to stick to this model of what deathcore music should be. And we just said, fuck all that shit. Like, these motherfuckers are gonna talk shit anyways, or not, or, you know, these are all just made up thoughts, because thoughts are just not real. We kind of said, let's as people, as 5 individuals with Ross Robinson in the room, and he's invited us to his house to live there for a couple months, live there with him, and like, we used his kitchen and bathroom and living room. He let us throw parties. We could do whatever the fuck we want. And then during the week we would track, like, let's just do something that encompasses this moment without any worry. Like, let's not think about the label. Let's not think about the touring. Let's not think about all this other bullshit. And maybe this album could be a grower. And during the process, mind you, we were like, dude, people are going to hate this record. It's like, doesn't matter, dude. We're throwing it in the ocean anyways. Like, this was a, go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask about that, like, especially, I guess, you're talking even throughout, but even, I guess, like, after the record's been wrapped and, like, everything's said and done, like, is there a point where you're like, oh, fuck, like, you know? Were you guys expecting as much backlash as there was? Like, how'd that kind of...
The thing about that, too, is, like, I was like, all right, if the album tonality, like the tones of everything, sounds different from the Cleansing or No Time to Bleed, it doesn't matter, because when we play live, it's going to sound the same. That's why we could play Unanswered next to Fuck Everything, and they sound the same live, because they're using live instruments that are all the same. So we were kind of like, well, we could play Doris, and it's going to sound like it's off of the Black Crown, because we're using the same shit. So we were just like, oh, like, it's just the album that sounds tonally different than the other albums. So, like, when we play live, we're going to still have the same energy, the same sounds as the other songs. It's just not going to be on that album. Like, some people might not even notice. But all in all, I think that it's one of those things, like how I was just saying, like, when I get into a project, I'm all about that moment, and not thinking about, like, oh, I should have done this and should have done that. Like, of course, people, like, ordered a milkshake and we gave them a fucking Diet Coke. Like, that's what happened. That's the reality of it. But at the same time, it's like, the real people who appreciated it were like, dude, you know, I listened to it and it's fucking good. Like, and of course people are like, it's not what Suicide Silence should sound like. You know, it's just like, maybe not, but it really captures a moment where everybody was at a very spiritual plane, and we had the privilege to work with a legendary producer who brought that side out of us. He didn't make us do anything. He just he got the mirror and put it up to us and said, do what you want to do. Don't worry about everything else. So this connection I had, I was thinking about my family. I was thinking about my bandmates. I was thinking about my singer who fucking died several years before that. I was thinking about my girlfriend at the time, and I was thinking about just stuff that was like, I feel like playing this today. And that's kind of how that is. And it's more of a therapeutic situation. And especially with Eddie. Eddie was like, I was just like, sing whatever you want, you know. His lyric process was a little different though, because he had a bunch of lyrics written and vocal stylings, but at the very end, he kind of changed everything to make it sound more eerie. He's like, I want to make people feel like different. So I'm gonna sing ways that's gonna make them cringe. And that's kind of why a lot of the songs are intentionally made to make you kind of go like, oh, I wouldn't have done that. But that's what he wanted. He wanted that reaction. Like there's this movie with Jim Carrey called Man on the Moon about a dude named Andy Kaufman, who was like a comedian, but his humor was so fucking bizarre that people were like, felt awkward. Like, I don't know, he's not funny. And that's the thing. That was the intention. His intention was to make people feel. And that's style of feeling, not like, oh, let me give you everything you want and make you feel good, or let me make you fucking feel weird and then have you think about it later and not understand the answers to these questions. You know, that was the intention. That's the intention of it. So that was a way of doing it. And then, of course, that album, you know, served its course. And I think even we gave the album to Ginger when we did a show prior to me meeting Tatiana, or the night I met her. We gave them the album and they heard it. And I remember Tatiana telling me, she's like, I think that's like your best record, because it does have a lot of progressive elements to it. It's got a lot of clean. It's got a lot of singing in it that's in a different, you know, cascade of what people are used to, you know. But yeah, that's how that album came out.
Does it? Because hearing you kind of talk about how like super personal and how like invested you guys were all into this album, like is there a part of that maybe hurts, like stings a little bit more for its reception to not have gone as well as previous records because it's so personal?
It's so personal, and I think that kind of led to me eventually getting to the point where I just wasn't happy in the band anymore. I think after Mitch, of course, I was like, it's not the same. All right, so let's finish this record up and let's tour. Let's keep playing his fucking songs, and let me keep playing his songs that I remember us writing together and us recording and playing all over the world. And then once that was done, it was like the self-titled record was like my final, like, you know what, this is the last thing I do with this band. And then not intentionally knowing that, but after that was when I kind of was like, what am I doing in life? Like, because of that album being the way it was, and then like the whole Teehee thing happened and people talking shit about the way it sounds, I was like, I never been a person who really gave a shit what people think about me. Like, it just doesn't. I do care. Like, I generally care what my friends think about me if I'm fucking up and they say, hey, Alex, I don't think you should be doing this. I care about that kind of stuff. But if it's like random people saying like, oh, well, he should have done this and shouldn't, it's like, whatever, man. Like, obviously I'm okay in life. I'm doing all right. You know, it's like, unless I'm not, but I feel like I'm pretty okay. So after that album, I kind of let a lot of stuff get to me, and I think that's what kind of led into like we all like after that album, Mark's father was in the final stages of cancer, so Mark left the band for a while, and we did a tour with Attila. We were writing a record in Pico Rivera here, and we just weren't really focused. And then during that time, I had gone to rehab actually for alcoholism so long ago. Before I left, I told the guys, I'm like, hey, if you guys want to keep writing, it's cool. You guys should write with Ernie because he's the homie, and don't let me being gone stop you from writing. Like, write. Okay, cool. I came back. They're like, oh yeah, Ernie's been writing with us. I'm like, thank God. You know, I don't want my bullshit I don't want my bullshit to go. At least Ernie is from my hood. We're the same. We're bros. Like, and that guy is worked his ass off. We're the same age, but he never got to explore this type of lifestyle while he was growing up. He was watching me from the crowd. He was dreaming of this. And we're both Mexican dudes from LA. Like, we're like, have that vibe. So, and to top it all off, he's a fucking death metal drummer who like is fucking good and played with Chapel and like all the shit. I'm just like, all in all, like that guy fits the bill now more modernly for like, so when I was a part of the process of Become the Hunter, another album that Jerry Club named. fun fact. Okay. Fun fact. He named that album too. And it's funny, by that time we were like, all right, Jerry, what's the name of this album?
Yeah. It's expected at this point. Like,
yeah, he gets credit for naming the albums, except for the Black Crowd. I helped write some songs, and then I think when it I was kind of on some medication, or I thought I was just overthinking. I was going through some shit, and then it was just decided like, hey, Ernie's been here writing a lot. This album has a lot of death metal in it. You know, how do you feel about like this? I'm like, dude, fucking go for it. Like, Ernie, you better fucking kill it. You know, like, this is all good. I let him borrow my drum set. He borrowed my snare. And about that time, I was kind of already in the like, what am I going to do next in life? Like, I'm tired. I was personally letting my own demons kind of get involved with my attitude. And the band was like, hey, like, are you happy? And I'm like, am I happy? And then, which kind of led to my disbandment from them. Like, I think COVID happened. I got married with Tatiana. And after that, we did a tour together. And at that point, I was kind of like, that's when we were both like just two parents. Like, when you're in a band, you're married, right? Like, it's husband and wife, except it's husband and husbands. And it got to the point where it's just like, they had, you know, they said like, if you're not happy and you're abusing things and your attitude's fucked up, like, maybe you should look into that and explore those things. And then to the point where I was kind of like, you know, like, I'm tired of doing this to you guys. Like, you know, I don't know if anyone could relate to like, when you start to really not like the position you're in, you start to treat people like shit. And then you ask yourself, like, before we start to hate each other, maybe it's a good idea if homeboy just steps in and like, maybe in the future I can be involved somehow. But it was a lot of people leaving, like Mark leaving carved a hole in us. And then he came back, and then he had music, and then we wrote, and then now it's like the same thing. Like, I have the best relationship with all of them now, though. I just saw Garza a couple weeks ago. We hung out, we cried, and like, that's kind of the thing. Like, you know, Garza's not playing with them right now, but he's on his own life path. You know, like, everybody has this time to find themselves. And when I joined Suicide Silence, I knew that it wasn't my band. Like, I wasn't like, I started this band. It felt like I came into a job, served my years like a fucking basketball player, like in a team who got some championships, and maybe like he wants to get out of that team and start playing with another team and see how it goes. And then, like, because of that,
even 10 years in, like, no sense of kind of ownership and, you know, still being on all of the full lengths. Like, you know, there's still like, I get it, you didn't create it, but like, let's be real here.
Having a singer die, man, like, made me not really like the band anymore. And then a lot of people saying that it wasn't the same without Mitch had me not really liking the members anymore. And then at the same time, it was like, what are we? Are we just like no one really is giving a shit about our new music. Like, especially with this new album, like, what am I doing?
You Can't Stop Me did great, though.
Yeah, You Can't Stop Me did great. And then self-titled. And then it was like, I started being a part of the business. Like, I started seeing like, oh, well, when are we going to headline again? Are we ever going to be able to headline? are we able to tour on a bus? And these are just my selfish things of realizing, like,
because after self-titled, it became pretty rough, right? Like
very rough, very rough. A lot of bands now were like, well, you could tour with us. Like once we toured with Attila, and I realized that we were direct support to a band that's like came out after us, and they're younger. Nothing hate on them, like they're killing it. It just like now we're just like clout on a flyer when our name is at the bottom of the fucking headliners. And I'm like, the only reason we're there, and this is my head, is like we're only there because of our singer dying, and if he never would have died, we never would have been there. But also like shit fucking happens. Like who's to say that? Like keep going and keep playing the music, you know, like that's what you got to do. I personally couldn't deal with seeing that, and that what's created my like resentment towards myself and the band, which led to that. And luckily we cut it. Like it came at a good time. It's like, well, Ernie needs a gig. He can do it probably better than I do because he's got better detail. He's so good. And he's like, Ernie's the best, man. Like if I could have had
too. He's a cool.
Yeah. And it's like, if I could have had anybody that I feel like fits the demographic and fits the vibe, it's Ernie. And like, I'm so glad that he exists to accommodate that position. And then because of that, I felt like, cool, time to explore my 30s, you know, like I just got married. I'm going to go play in Europe with these nuts. And then now it's like, I'm playing with POD, and it's like, okay, now I'm realizing that I'm playing with too many bands now. I'm fucking busy, and I'm learning 25 POD songs and some D's Nuts songs and fucking As I Lay Dying songs. And I'm just like, after 2022, 2023, I was like, told Tatiana, I'm like, I need to like chill. Like I love fucking drums, and I know that this is going to be here for me, but I want to get a normal job. I want to work at a venue. I want to start getting to some kind of production and getting my home studio together and staying home and watching the cat. And you go on tour, you go do your shit with your boys, with your dudes who you've been touring since 2009 with. Like those are her guys. Like, and I love it that I have a wife who has like, she's doing her part in the world, and only someone who's a musician could understand. Like I used to date women who weren't touring, and it's just like, don't you do anything? Isn't there a purpose for you except fucking getting on my ass? And it's just like, I can do it normally, but it's not for everyone. But with that, you know, I kind of, the position I'm in now, it's like, also I bought a fucking house, and I don't know anybody. Like deathcore didn't buy me a house. I myself, half my wife, and she could probably buy fucking 10 houses. What I did after Suicide Silence and my musical career, and like I guess you'd say my abilities, non-deathcore related, bought the house, which is kind of big. Like I don't know a lot of musicians out there, let alone had their music buy them a house in Orange County. Not that it's a big mansion or anything. And now it's like I had to get out, figure out how to get my life together as far as finances, which is real. Once you're fucking 40 years old like me, like you got to figure it out. Like, and yeah, I had the ability to do this. And now that I kind of have my work out and stability, there is more in store for me, you know, as far as like drumming endeavors go. And like Austin's project.
Now you got the basics covered, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, because
you got shit sorted out. Now it's like back to and you can do it responsibly, if anything, right? Like you going back out on tour, let's say right now with the band or recording with the band, doesn't have to either be a full-time thing. Like it can be on your own terms versus like, I get it too. Like when you're in a band, it's like, hey, we're going out on tour next month. All right. Like there's no, let me check my schedule. Like there's no, you're coming, right? There's no choice in that. Right. So.
Yeah, man. Like I have a lot of people that are musicians and bands while they're on tour and while they're in that fucking seat in the airplane flying to fucking Montreal to play a show are sitting like, man, I hope all this hard work like pays off, because one day I want to be married, have a house, maybe have some kids, and I wonder if this job is going to get me there. Like all of us have those aspirations, and I had them, and it wasn't until like I said, you know what, this band's not gonna, deathcore is not gonna, unless you're Lorna Shore, deathcore ain't gonna help you with this, like unless you're lucky. And you know what sucks is like back in the day, with like when Mitch was alive, we were doing well, but we never thought, of course we're 23, 24 years old. We never thought like, hey, we should buy houses right now. Like, you know, we were just like getting fucking $5,000 a month for years when we could have just said, hey, could you just like give us 2 years worth of pay so I can buy a house? Like we never thought of that.
Not to cut you up, but like, isn't it weird though that like, and I'm not throwing shit at any label. I'm just talking about the industry in general, not this specific label. But isn't it weird though that there's no discussion towards that when like you're signing like young people and stuff like that? Shouldn't be. Maybe I'm just like too much of a dreamer, but like it would make sense that they sit down and they're like, listen, like it's working well. You're gonna do more money. You should do that and that.
I understand your point, Ian, but also, and look, Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I know a few guys that would have told them to fuck right the fuck off.
Probably.
I'll do whatever the fuck I want with my money. Probably. You don't be telling me what to do.
Probably. No, but I'm just surprised that there's not more of like that sort of
it's up to you're like, if you are a dude who has a family who's good with that kind of stuff, lucrative things, you could say, hey, like, all right, Suicide Silence 2009 signs $100,000 licensing deal with Hot Topic, signs $100,000 deal with Century Media, has all this money in our bank account, right? And we just take pieces of it every month. It's like, hey guys, do you want this much money every month for sure? You could get an apartment, you get a car, take your girl out to dinner, you tour. Instead of that's the good thing. You can say, hey, there's two options. We can give you all your share right now, which we probably would have not used it correctly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm gonna buy it. Yeah, we're gonna buy it.
That's all I'm saying.
All the beers.
We're gonna rent out Disneyland, get hookers, and fucking dress like pirates for a year. You know. But yeah, it's
It'll be a cool couple of months, but you know.
Yeah, cool couple of months. But you know, that was kind of one thing that I was like always kind of kicking myself in the ass, that I never used my finances in a very smart way. I was using it as your normal 20-year-old dude would, and like investing in instruments, drums, get fucking recording equipment, microphones, and trips and stuff like that. But
you're in the moment too, like
it's like no one's gonna want.
You don't think of the eventual this is gonna end, scenario either, right?
Exactly. That's why a lot of people always in the later life tell younger people like invest in this, invest in that. So it's true, but that stuff always lingered with me, and that was a big part of a resentment I had with myself, that I was like, I need to start working for my future so that like once I have my stability, I could now take time and be like, yo, yeah, I'm good. I'll go on tour with this band and I'll learn their songs and I'll have fun. And I know that I have a home to go to after that's mine, that I could actually tell the band like, hey, this is what I need to get paid. Mm-hmm. It's like, cool. It's like, you don't have to worry about buying me drum heads or cymbals or drum rentals. Like I get all that for free. This is the deal, and I want to do it. And that's kind of a coming of age thing, and it took a lot of work to get here. And most of it was just by believing in myself and making really good relationships with other like-minded people who are the same, in general.
from your to your defense, I think it's very understandable from that perspective. You were saying earlier, oh, for selfish reason with the headliner show and stuff like that. But when you go into that perspective of you're building a future, you've been on top of it, literally of the entire scene, like as big, like you're, and then you think you're going like that, take a hit, and then feels like the fans are almost like turning on you. It's like for you, this entire dream perspective of like, okay, we're heading there. It's kind of gone. It's just like,
yeah.
Oh my God. Like you almost feel like you're not that you're back to I wouldn't say like a local band like by any means, but I'm just saying like you feel like you're taking step backs, like back after all those years. So
yeah,
I'm just saying from that perspective, like because you mentioned like, oh, it was for selfish reason. With that perspective, I think it's more just like you probably felt a bit defeated per moment and just like, where is this going? So
where's this going? And I don't want to ruin everyone else's fun. Like if I'm not having fun, I should own up to it and let anyone that's in a band, if you're not having fun in the band, like instead of ruining your time and wasting your time, not necessarily wasting, but knowing that you could use that energy for something else, and then Mitch dying was like the rug being swept from under me. That was like, that goes to show that like you could be on top of the world and your world could change right overnight. And that's what happened on, November 1st, 2012. Mm-hmm. Like everything changed. And then I was still trying to figure out how to get okay, I'm not going to become financially successful with this opportunity, just being a drummer in this band. Like, what can I do to really just embark on my own adventure and just keep this life that I do have, use it, spend it well. And if the band ain't doing it for me, it's like I don't want to be a party pooper anymore, and they don't want to have a party pooper there. And it's like that's why band members take time away from bands. They just like, I don't want to ruin your time anymore, man. Like it's not you, it's me. So that's kind of a big thing that's kind of a
back to the relationship.
Back to the
marriage.
Yeah, it's like it's not you, it's me. But it's like, it's really cool though that the band still is doing what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Dude, and their tour right now, dude, has been looking insane with Slaughter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude, that's kind of like a band that they've always wanted to play with, and I know those guys are just like, Suicide is just like, dude, just invite us to the party, as in put us on the tour, let us do the rest, like it's all good. Like that, there's no ego. Like we used to have like, I remember we did a headliner, and below us was Walls of Jericho and A Life Once Lost, and I was like, how does this even happen? Like, how do we play above these guys? These guys are like still making music and still great. And then I realized like, that's just politics. Like, that's just like, who fucking cares whose name is where in the flyer? That doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Like what matters is that they showed up to the party. Cause there's been tours back in the day where it's like, oh man, did you know that blah, blah, blah used to tour with this band? Like, look at where they are. Smashing Pumpkins used to open up for Nirvana, and like, all, like going back to 90s mm-hmm. shit. But it's like it didn't matter where they are in the flyer. Like it bothered me for stupid reasons, but at the same time, they still are performing to the audience and creating that magical moment, which is crucial.
Mm-hmm. The fans just want to see all their bands together. Like often we look at the old lineups, like no, the truth is like fan wise, nobody like, we just wanted to see all our bands together. That was the entire, I don't think ever in my life I was like, they should have like from outside, nobody was just like, oh, it should have been the headliner.
Yeah.
Hey, if my favorite band is in direct support, and I don't care if we're the last band, that's just an early night for me, man. I couldn't care less.
That's true. Yeah, man. That's a big one. So that's kind of like that's how I view it. And yeah, I think when I played with POD, they did direct support to Ginger. And I remember they were like, oh, dude, we don't fucking care. Like, that's just, I'm glad that they're taking us out. I'm like, cool. I'm like, yeah, you guys are teaching me how to be humble and like, it's not that I needed to learn. It's just I need to be reassured that it's all the same. We're all still in the same backyard, in the same backstage. We're all still showing up to the same sound check. We all leave together. We all hug each other in the morning and say, "What's up, man? How was your how was your drive?" And that's the kind of stuff, And I've been missing it lately. I've been kind of like, I was telling Garza, I was just like, I don't know if I'm ready to do this shit again, but I think I'm getting there soon. I'm spending some time getting healthier and like getting my chops back up and wanting to like see what happens as far as like what I'm playing. I don't know if like, I don't know. We'll see. Like there's a special place in my heart for like blast beats and fucking breakdowns, but there's also a special place in my heart for like just simple, not simple, but powerful drumming, I guess you'd say. Yeah. Just simple, powerful drumming that people can relate to. And I love that there's drummers out there who shred, and there's a lot of drummers out there that shred and will never have the ability to be put in the spotlight, man. It's a tough one.
Mm-hmm. You seem, what, like it's awesome. I'm speaking for both of us, but it's awesome. It's great to see how like you're in such a cool place, dude. Honestly, like from this entire conversation, like just your perspective on things, where you are, like you're talking about like it was difficult back then, but I mean, look at you now, like married, all those things, great opportunities, drumming. You're doing everything you wanted, and honestly, it's for us, it's cool to see, and it's great to
thank you, man.
Witness.
Thank you. Yeah, you guys are too kind. But yeah, it's interesting. But I've been writing music too, like the last 5 years. Playing every instrument. I have some songs with Tatiana on vocals. I don't know when I'm gonna release it. It is brutal. It is like heavy, and it's also very. It's what you would think I would write, and I've showed it to some people. But I plan to make a record, finish this up, and have a bunch of singers on it, kind of like what Mark Morton did. He put out a record with a bunch of singers, but I want to do like my version of it, where I'm playing drums and guitar. And have a bunch of my friends that are vocalists, a lot of good ones.
People.
I know some people I could call up and be like, "Hey, you want some publishing for this?" And yeah, I've talked to Evans. I'm just like, "Hey, will you track drums for me when I do my album?" Yeah. He's just like, "Yeah, I got you. It's perfect because you know how to make me sound better than I really am." Right? So, and then like kind of have that, and then getting a lot of support from Tatiana. She's just like, she's a super supportive wife, and I just like I adore the shit out of her. And it kind of like, and that's a relationship that happened later. Like I met her when I was like 30 years old, like 10 years ago, and we've been married for 6 years now. Like,
congrats, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, and she, like I've been helping her out too with like. She's living here now, and like her band wants to record pre-production vocals, and same thing. Like I used to sit with Mitch and Eddie. I sat with her, and I'm like, "What are your lyrics? All right, let's." I will micro produce her vocals, and then she sends it to her band. And if she's struggling with lyrics, I'll be like, "Hey, I got some good ideas of bullshit. See if you can rework it." So like, we have a partnership that we can bring our work into it without anyone being like, anyone being closed off to it. Like opinions or ideas are always welcome, and stuff like that. There was like there's a song that was on their new record that I wrote some lyrics, and it ended up, she's just like, "These are cool as is." Like, I'm like, cool. This song's about like a battle with yourself. It's about like having a duel with yourself. Like it's called Draw Your Weapon. It's about like, who are you going to be today? Are you going to be a fucked up person or a controlled person? And then you fight this person all day, and it's yourself. And songs about like having a battle with yourself, and it's like, who's going to shoot who? And she's like, "Oh, that's fucking crazy, because this album, I want to call it Duel." It's about a duel. And I'm like, yeah, it kind of works out. And then it like, because of that, she started writing these lyrics and started getting into this zone of her new record. And I was just like, fuck yeah. Like, I'm glad I could help you with that. Like, cause that's good. It's like, imagine like if I was just a dude who like didn't have ideas or didn't understand that. And like she was stuck with it. And like, because of that, I'm like, and I'm an open musician. Like when I work with people, I'm like, take whatever is whatever we develop that day is yours. It's for the art. It's for the art. I don't fucking want I don't care about credit. Like I don't like the credit is when you're happy and we're happy. Like it's all good. That's where I feel my accomplishment, because when we die, we don't fucking go to heaven or the universe, right? With credit of shit we did. It's about how
that's what lets you in or not. You know, you just you need enough credits.
Yeah, I wish, right? But it's all about like it's
Should
about
have put
how
your name on that song. No,
yeah, I know,
literally.
right? It's so true. It's about like how I impacted someone, whether it was a conversation or a song that I collaborated on, and or a tour that I played with. You know, there's just been so many collabs that I've done and been a part of that. I'm just like, oh yeah, I helped on that one. That's cool. It worked out good. It's like my own little pat on the back that no one will ever know. You know.
That's what led you to tell somebody like Austin, hey, what if I do the entire drums just like that?
That's how it happened. They were just like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, you guys only the studio's 15 minutes from my house. I have all my shit. In fact, can I please do it so my wife doesn't think that I'm just sitting around scratching my balls? Like I said, there was some selfish reasons for me to do it.
There's a reason to everything, you know.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, dude. It's like at least I know that I'm gonna have something that is relevant and that people are gonna hear it. And it's like, okay, like imagine if I drummed on something that like no one would really hear, I would still get some sense of fulfillment. But the fact that I know like when this album comes out, I think it'll, and it's funny because I'm not in the band. I'm not associated with them, but it's kind of like that old school perception of like when drummers tracked on albums and then no one really knew about it. Like they just kind of like, oh yeah, like, and then some like yourselves will be like, hey, did you know that Alex Lopez tracked on that?
Like, exactly.
You know, it's like
you always got the nerds that are here for the Easter eggs.
It's like, yeah, that's an Easter egg album. That's kind of like there's this one, and maybe we could kind of venture off from that, but there was once again, I'll talk about Glassjaw, but we did a tour. It was a Mayhem tour because we did like 7 fucking Mayhem tours. So I'm always going to talk about Mayhem tour.
Yeah.
We did all of them because we were friends with John Reese, and John Reese put on all the Mayhems. We did a tour. Godsmack was on it, and Godsmack had this drummer named Larkin. Shannon Larkin. Not Shannon Lucas. Shannon Larkin. Shannon Larkin played drums on a bunch of records, but he played drums on Worship and Tribute by Glassjaw, and I knew this. So like one day he was on our bus, like hanging out, all like chilling, and we were all hanging out, and I was like, yo, dude, I love your drumming, and he's like, oh yeah, dude, likewise, this and that, and I was like, but you're my favorite album that you've ever drummed on, and he's like, wait, please tell me it's Worship and Tribute by Glassjaw. I'm like, yes. He almost started crying. He's like, dude, I love that record so much. Thank you for telling me that. Like, I needed to hear that. And I was like, I'm taking so much learning from this encounter with me and you at 2 a.m, 5 minutes before bus call, crying, and me telling you how much I love this album. And I think this is before, no, we already knew Evans, but I was just telling him about that whole experience. And he was just like, yeah, they hit me up. I had the feel, Ross recommended me. Ross Robinson recommended him because he was an Amen too. And Shannon Larkin was just like the right drummer for the right gig and happened to be there. And after that, I was just like, I think one of my purposes after, especially doing I Set to Kill's record, I'm like, I kind of want to just be a part of some albums and like have these albums like a movie or like a movie that an actor was in that helped bring that feeling out, and like, why try to get somebody who sounds like it when you could just get that it and put them in the movie, get the original source. So that Shannon Larkin moment was like a big reason where I'm kind of like still hoping at some point. And I've had people like tell me about albums like The Cleansing. They're like, dude, seriously though, my favorite you've done was The Cleansing, man. I'm like, thank you, man. Like, I'm happy to hear that, because it's like that was an important moment of my life. And when I hear people really acknowledge it like yourselves, it's like it brings a sense of accomplishment that I contributed to somebody's process of how they go in life. Like if they listen to it when they're working out, or when they're upset, or when they just want to party, like that drumming that I'm creating, which is just me hitting things, you know, and it creates a noise, and that noise goes into your brain and it makes you feel a certain way, which is some primitive shit. But it's like, it's really cool to have that connection, you know, and that's like, it's all around good though.
I'll be here to remind you every 2 days anyway. I'm posting about The Cleansing at this point 5 times a week almost. So you'll be punished and reminded.
But it's cool attitude to have, because we do see a lot of people that kind of have maybe resentment towards, you know, it's like, no, I've moved on from this. I've gone on to do bigger and better things, or you look back on like, oh, I could have done this so much better, so therefore I don't enjoy it anymore. Like, so a lot of musicians kind of get wrapped up in that kind of mentality. So it's cool to hear the perspective that you have on like the early material and The Cleansing and stuff like that.
I love it, man. It's great. And all that stuff, the whole fucking that era, the No Time to Bleed era, the Black Crown era, even the self-titled era, and it's just it like you said, it just like it happened so fast that now I'm having the ability to have remember those memories, and just so much life happened in between, you know, like losing a parent, losing, like a lot of death has been happening in my life, especially the older I get. So like when you have those moments of like remembering when times were good and when I was secure, you know, when we were recording The Cleansing, like we were all still getting lunch money from mom and fucking, and it wasn't nothing came in financially till way after that. Not way after, but after that. It's just kind of like, it was like we weren't successful yet when we recorded it. So if you really think about it, like while we were doing it and while we were recording it and putting our heart and soul in it, it was all or nothing. It was win it, take it home, and run that shit, because it's like that's all we got, and we really want to show the world the voice we have. And everybody, Garza, Mark, even Botkins, and of course Mitch, like we had so much that we wanted to say to our local scene that we were just like we weren't thirsty, we were hungry. Like we were hungry to not conquer the scene. We were just hungry to express ourselves the only way we knew. And we're by far, we weren't the most technical nor most elaborate or more, you know, especially what was out in 2007. Like we're just like the best. We just wanted to show people how we were live. So we recorded shit how we played it live, which ended up being the best way to record that kind of music, you know? Like I don't see it any other way. Like if bands start doing that, then that's one thing. I just talked to, I think, Josh, from the singer of the band Reverent.
Yes, sir.
And they're from Riverside. They're not far from me, but I was like, hey, do you guys want to get together and write some MySpace shit or what? And they're like, whoa. I'm like, I might set up a drum set and I might fucking pull your guitarist in here and we might write some 2006 shit, maybe some 2005. And they're like, and he's just like, when we're going to do a tour, please let me know. And I'm like, you guys have that. And Josh has that his name's Josh, right?
Yeah, singer's
Yeah.
Josh. Yeah.
He's got that.
And
he's
Noah's
got
a fucking wizard too.
Dude, he's got that
producing, and they've got it, man. They're the
got that-
future, man. We've been saying, man, those kids are the future,
Yeah.
man.
Oh yeah, his energy also, Josh on stage. Well, the whole band, but I mean, like like when we had the honor of seeing them live, right? Like at the
we
Chain
flew
Reaction.
down to Chain for those Elijah shows.
Okay, yeah.
And honestly,
remember
first
it
thing
was
I
there,
told,
so.
and it was awesome. First thing I told Josh was he reminded me of the Destruction of a Statue video, and he was just like, "That's kind of the best thing you can tell." Josh, you know, he was super happy. But yeah, I'm trying to imagine me in their place. Like when you said that to them, they were just like, "Yeah, so right now or tomorrow? Like when is this happening?" Like you blew their minds for sure.
Yeah, and I was just like, I sensed a lot of that era with him when I saw those videos and his energy and like his size and everything. And I was just kind of like, you know what? Like, I could only imagine if I was that age and one of my idols or my dudes I looked up to hit me up. And I've had the privilege to have idols talk to me and be my friends. I'm like, first of all, I know you appreciate the craft and the work. So like, yeah, I had the privilege to meet my idols and like not idols, but like, yeah, like I said, like people I admired to work with. Like, here's me spreading that vibe again with you guys having the ability to ask me questions and us to make some music, not necessarily for any intention, except for like, all right, your guitarist, he kind of does a lot of the writing and this and that. Cool. That means I could jam with him and we could write some shit. And we could kind of mesh our heads together, and then I could sit with Josh, give him the fucking microphone and like maybe show him some lyrics and start to work on something that I don't know what it is. Like that's the thing is there's no rules, there's no intention, right? It's just like I said, let's get together, let's fuck around.
It could start with some meditating before letting it out, you know.
I'll just fall asleep after. I'm just like, oh. But I was fucking around with I saw it was NAMM show that just happened. I saw Garza, and we were talking because I was just like I didn't even bring up Suicide Silence with like what they're doing, but I was like, you know what, man, you know it'd be really crazy if me and you come back to Suicide Silence, we come back to Suicide Silence at the same time, but we do a tour and we have Josh sing and it's just cleansing songs.
Okay.
And
I'm here for it, but.
And he was just like, he's like, really? I'm like, I don't know. I just like, imagine if we had him, like we played those songs and had him do it. Nothing, no diss on Eddie or anything like that. But imagine like the feeling that the fans would get from that. He's just like, I guess, like, you know, something. But I'm like, and that's just me. Like, I'm always putting things out into the world about like hypothetical situations. Hey, but you never know. Like, that could be something that's cool. But I told him that I was like, yeah, I hit up those guys. First of all, I hit him up and I was like, I shared his videos to Jolie, Mitch's widow. And I'm like, check this kid out. And she's just like, yep, that's him. That's that energy that he had, like that, you know, still back when Mitch had no tattoos and just kind of like very, really like innocent, but pissed off, you know? And I'm like, God, man, and these kids probably still like, no diss on them, but they're probably still living at their parents'. They're probably still like scraping together money for shit. And I'm like, I know where they're at right now. I was there and they're about to get a lot huger, but it just, at this point, it depends on what they want to do and their trajectory of, do they want to follow the impossible or do they want to just pave their own way and be stupid? Not stupid in the sense of like, I guess you'd say be more, just not worry about the world. Like everything else that they're supposed to do, just be
carefree,
ignorant. Yeah, exactly. So like, that's a band that I feel like could start and like it's like a whole another version of Suicide Silence, like kind of starting their own thing, and it's kind of like a formula. You know, it's like no one really rips anyone off, but there is a formula, like no different than Oxygen and a spark makes fire. That's a formula. Like if you want to make fire, that's how it's done. So like if you have that type of singer and you have that type of tuning and you have that type of aggression, those are the ingredients to make a certain style of music that should be ventured on, because that's like what a lot of people want to hear, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
But
Yo, I'd love to kind of wind this down here, maybe land the plane here. But I'm wondering if there's maybe we could end this off with a story involving Mitch. Anything that would come to mind, a funny story or just a good memory you have with Mitch.
oh man, let me try to think. He always liked to shit in things. Like if he was in, yeah, there was a couple times where he had a shit and we were backstage and there was no bathroom, so he would just shit in the trash can.
Okay.
That's a thing that like happened more than usual. Like we always thought that was funny. He's just like, I gotta shit, man. Fuck this venue. Why don't they have a fuck this? And like shit, and then go on stage and play. You know what, dude? Hold on.
The garbage is like stage right next to Garza, and he's got to smell it all set.
Dude, and it was probably just the smell of Buffalo Wild Wings. And I found this old video that I was tagged in that is on my Facebook and that nobody could see except for me. And it's videos that I don't think anyone's ever seen except for myself and some bandmates. But I wonder if I could show you guys it. And it's old. And it's Mitch inside of an airplane. We're flying somewhere and he was rapping. And it's footage that it's really shitty footage, but I think I could find it. I gotta really, 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 really go down a lot. And I saw it the other day and I was like, whoa, I'm going to send this link to somebody. And then I sent it to them. They're like, I can't see it. Like, oh yeah. Here it is.
It's like privated.
Yeah. So let me see if I can get up close. Let's see. You can see it.
Yeah. Okay.
You could kind of see that.
Yeah. Well, we can wait. What can I do here?
Hold on. Can you hear this?
Yeah.
So we're on an airplane, right? Dan Kenny's just kind of talking. Hold on, let me show you the better video. Hold on, I don't know. I gotta send this to you somehow.
Wow.
We were on an airplane and he always would write these rap songs when we were somewhere. So in this video, he's talking about having 3 margaritas and a beer, and the guy in front of him is really pissed off, and it was a memory. Yeah, let me see. We had a tech named Ben Lionetti, and this is a funny one too. Mitch used to pop people's pimples.
There's no fucking way.
Is that Mitch? No, that's Bubble. Sorry. We were on some. That's another dude. I could probably find a way to screen record that, but yeah, he had he kind of, that's the cool thing is like, I think it's because Mitch grew up with brothers. He was a good bandmate because we all shared shit, you know? Mm-hmm. And I always bunked up with him. Like we all shared, like we had 5 members and a tour manager and 3 rooms. So it would be like I would share a room with Mitch. Mark would share a room with Garza. Dan Kenny would share a room with the tour manager because Dan Kenny got the most. He needed the most assistance most of the time.
Okay.
So like, not saying I was a fucking saint, but and also like I think because we were on airplanes, I sat next to Mitch a lot because our last names, so Lucker and Lopez. So like when we would buy tickets, it would just be a natural alphabetical. But I think a lot of the reason that we all kind of mesh is because we all had like Garza didn't have siblings, but I had two older brothers. He had older brothers and a younger brother. So like the joking around and the fucking around and like the making the best every situation as funny as possible. That was always like it was always kind of like a part of the travel. You know, when they say like the journey is between the destination.
Yeah.
Like that's where life is. It's not where you're going. It's on the way there. That those situations were always apparent with him. We always found a way to, I mean, there's a lot of fucked up, miserable times, of course, but for the most part, that's kind of like, I'm trying to think of a good story too.
Well, you think also, just want to add, like, you never know, like you're talking about the process and I agree with that. But the crazy thing is how often, especially when you're as nostalgic as I am, you look back on things that back in the days were not a good moment, but with perspective, it kind of was. Like you see yourself back then at what step you were in, and with perspective you see what you had and you see with who you were or whatever, and it becomes sort of a good memory. And at that time you would have never guessed. So that's why they say live in the moment, which I never do because I live in the past always, which is just a problem. But it's kind of it is true. The amount of times that I find myself thinking like, wow. And then I'm like, I was miserable though, but it was kind of cool because of this and this. So I'm just saying perspective, you never really know.
You don't know.
A great time or no.
Yeah, you don't know when it's a good time until it's like past. And that's why it's like on this video, I'll try to save it and send it. We're on an airplane and we've been traveling all day and we're so fucking tired and we just want to get to wherever we're getting, because you get to the airport, you're not done. You get to the airport, you got to wait for your instruments, your luggage. You got to check in with a carnet. You got to find the guy who's taking you to the hotel. You got to get to the hotel. You got to check in, and then you got to sleep. But during those miserable times where we seemingly are miserable, I look back and I'm like, dude, we were like having a blast. Like, even though we were like, oh, fuck this, like we're waiting for so long, we still made it. We still made it through and had some good memories, like, or not memories, but we were good at killing time. That's basic.
Yeah, basically look, that's tour life, right? Like you have to be good at that.
Dude. And yeah, it's the funny guys that help out a lot. It's the ones that's like, I'm just going to shut up and watch you guys do your shit. And, you know, I got blessed with having a bandmates that were all like, everyone had a different personality, you know, and then we were all able to kind of go off of that, you know, and it's still like there's personalities that you're going to continuously meet throughout your life. Like you would know, like this person reminds me of this person. So I kind of want to treat them the same, and maybe I get the same vibe, you know, like, and there's a lot of people that I've met who remind me of people that I know, that I'm just like, you know, I'm going to have this much faith in this person, just like I think about this other person. And most of the times I'm usually right, but sometimes I'm wrong. But that's how you can kind of gauge honesty and if someone has good intentions or not, you know?
Yeah, kind of feel out their personality. And yeah. Dude, thank you so much, man. This is fucking awesome, man.
Incredible.
Thank you for staying for so long too. This is fucking rad, man.
I told you I could talk for a while too, man.
Look, us too. So
yes,
peas in a pod.
That's all good, man. Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on here. I hope I didn't say anything incriminating. No, I don't think I did.
I'm pretty sure you did. It was
someone will find something, and then I'll have to be like, ignore it.
No, I'll be honest. You're with two guys that just like, not that we don't care about that, but like we're here to have like real conversation. We're not there for like a gotcha whatever thing or whatever. We're just here to we're nerds. Like that sums it up.
Yeah,
basically.
and it's like, yeah, everything I say, it's kind of just like hypothetical stuff, and I'm explaining my situation. But at the same time, it's like if people that know me understand how I am, and I'm sure you guys got a small idea of kind of my type of person. I can show you my Black Crown snare real quick.
Oh, hell yeah.
For sure.
So for all you people watching, this is a 1982 bell brass. And this is the same type of snare that was used on Metallica's like Black Album, a lot of Deftones. But yes, this is what you drummers out there need to get at some point, or have me record on your record for free. And I'll play.
That's the trick.
Because they say it's all in the hand, right?
It's all in the hand, man. You can't. You can't. There's no drum sample pack that can pack that punch.
Dude, you shared. We're not responsible for the amount of DMs you get after this show about recording drums for free. We are not responsible for that. I'm just gonna say it ahead.
Oh man, hey, if it's cool and I believe in it, just cover my gas. And get me
everyone thinks their shit is cool, though, Alex. That's the problem.
That's the thing, yeah.
Respectfully.
I mean, it's been a lot of years, but it is good. I do feel blessed to have this ability and have people like you guys appreciate the shit I do. I'm not really like, I'm sure you hear a lot of musicians say it, but like we ain't shit without the fans, and you guys are genuine fans, and I could feel it. And it's pleasure to call you guys friends now. And I'm sure we could build a relationship after this. We could hang out. I'm a hanger outer, and of course, like we could introduce each other to mutual friends, and like there's a big world of interesting people that it's like, oh yeah, I know that guy, and I just it's I always want to share the wealth, with whatever I get, because I believe that I've had so many people help me out, so many like relationships where I'm so thankful that I have this person I could fucking call up and ask for guidance and help, that I want to have that with someone else and move it. So like when you guys get older and things thrive for you, and you meet that one person or those people who are like kind of they're still in the woods about their life, but you could help them out of the woods. Like I want that type of thing to happen to people more often, as in like on some like human shit, on some humanity, on some humanity shit. Cause it's like, I'm not trying to gatekeep anything. And if it's like, if it changes somebody's world, it's like, I've heard so many stories where someone's like, dude, yeah, like I was just doing this and this person hit me up and it changed my life. It's just like, damn. My story is I was going to go play a show and I was miserable in the band I was in. And Garza came up to me and said, yo, you want to try out for Suicide Silence? Cool. Show up next week. We might do a tour. Do you have a passport? Yes. That's like, what if I was sick that day? What if Garza, what if they found somebody? It's funny, when I tried out, they had a guy in there. And then when I left, they were I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like he had triggers too, and I didn't. And I thought that was going to hurt me, but it didn't. And there was another guy outside waiting after me.
Oh,
and they
no.
told I don't know who it was.
Gigs up, show's over again.
They told,
go back home. Oh no.
They told that guy to go home. They did.
With his drum kit and all, I assume.
I don't know who he was. They're like, hey, blah, blah, blah's outside. He wants to try out after Alex. And they were trying out drummers like 3 a day. And I think they went out and they're like, hey, just come back tomorrow. And he's like, okay. I don't know who that guy was, but they never called him back.
You didn't see him tomorrow.
Yeah, no one. He saw nothing the next day. But But like like that. I mean, I worked hard just to get to that point, and then we continue to work hard to get to other points. But like that's an era, man. That whole like, have you guys ever been to Garza's house? Or
no.
Yeah, you guys did the pod, or you guys went to the studio?
Yeah, we went to the studio. Yeah.
Was the studio at a house or the actual like studio place?
No, it was in the studio space. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because that garage that he does some podcasting in. I don't know if he does still. That garage is where we wrote everything.
Yeah,
I would have cried probably.
Yeah, man, it's a lot of sweat and tears, and that swimming pool that we used to swim in all the time, man. Good shit, but yeah, we'll stay in contact, man.
100%.
I really appreciate it. Yeah, we went on for fucking 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Record time or what? Record time?
Might
3:45 might be not. Look, we've had Big Chocolate on a few times, and bro's a yapper too. So we've had some three. We just did one with him a couple of weeks ago, and it went around to this time. But I think 3:45 might be the new record.
That's cool, man. Yeah, Cameron, dude. Cameron's the homie. Great guy.
Sir.
Did you ever watch the videos he did with Mitch? All the like
the execution stuff and all that.
I even included some of those clips in my YouTube videos.
Dude, yeah. I remember when he met him, he was like, "Hey, I got this friend I just met. He shoots videos." And I'm like, "All right, you have a random friend now? Like, who the fuck is this guy?" And I met him, and I'm like, "I understand now."
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, and that all connects to Steve Joe too, right? Like, there's like a whole trifecta there.
The whole thing, and how they thought of the name Commissioner. Like, it was like, how do we make a name with Cameron and Mitch? Camish. Oh, let's just call it Commissioner, and that's pretty much how the fucking name came. I'm like,
it worked.
I guess that works, but man.
Yeah, they didn't need Jerry for that one.
No.
Nope.
Sure. Yeah, they thought of that one. That's good.
Well, dude, thank you so much, man. And we'll be keeping in touch, man. This is really fun. You're fucking awesome, man. And you blessed us with a lot of really cool fucking stories, and it's always cool for us to kind of go back into those days and talk to people like you about stuff that for us was so influential and stuff. So really appreciate you. Very grateful, man.
Mind blowing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Well, here for you guys, and it's probably like what 11 at night over there, or 1 in the morning.
Here it's almost
2 in the morning.
2 a.m.
Yes, sir.
Oh shit! All right, man.
Hey, but look, we're night owls. It's all good. But yes, it is. It is 2 in the morning.
For sure.
I'm going to go to bed in like 3 hours still, so we're good. But it was amazing, truly. Thank you.
Cool, man. All right. Well, you guys have a good night, and we'll talk soon.
Yes, sir. All right. Have a good one, man.
Take care.
If you made it to the end of this episode, thank you for watching. And hey, while you're here, hit that subscribe or follow button and a review. If you're watching or listening on a podcast platform, it would mean the world, and it helps out more than you know. A big thank you as well to all of our supporters over on Patreon and on Twitch. New episodes every week, links to our Patreon, Discord, and socials in the description. We'll see you soon. We're out.